Welcome everybody. This is episode 2 to the Nerdy Beard Man Weekly. This is Joey, your host, the Nerdy Beard Man, joined by my co-host Jared the Joedette. How you right?
Hey everybody. Hey Joey. I'm good on yourself.
Good. We talk movies, TV shows, comic books, games, all of those things, and we are your proxy for the average Joe and Joedette.
Hey.
We still have to work on that intro.
I think it's good. I like
It's
it.
not good. It sounds rehearsed. But It's not rehearsed.
It's not. That's why I like it. It sounds really
It's like
good.
it's off the bat. And that's why it sounds so terrible. I'm also thinking, because now the music will play before that. Maybe we should do like a cold open and then play the music.
Okay.
And then once the music's played, then it goes into the intro.
And we start our topics.
Then that means I have to edit. And based on my my editing skills the previous time around, that might take me a little while.
So everyone can trust that this is the real deal. This
Yes,
is not.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So obviously, let's clear the elephant in the room.
Okay.
It's tough to have a show called Anything Weekly. I mean, this is not Nerdy Beard Man bi-weekly. This is Nerdy Beard Man Weekly. Now we've got 2 weeks worth of shit to cover, and there's a lot of shit to cover.
Yeah.
There's a lot. So before we get started and get into it, I just have to clear a few things up, right? So the last time we potted, we did Mortal Kombat, right?
Yes.
So that whole pod,
Yes.
when we spoke about Mortal Kombat, I spoke about Shao Kahn.
Yes. The tiger.
When it's
Shao Kahn.
well, it's not. He's not the villain. It's Shang Tsung.
That.
And even in the pod, I'm like, wait, is that the villain? Or does that not sound right? And in the whole movie, we speak about Shao Kahn.
I feel like.
And I say Oddworld, which, you know that game on PlayStation with a little worm? That's Oddworld.
No, it's the alien. It's the alien that's Oddworld.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
This is Outworld.
It was close.
So when that, but
If
why
no
did
one
you
else
not
picked it
correct
up,
me?
no, because that was. Now we're saying we're correcting it. Maybe that was the test.
From whom?
I don't know to who, but we can go with that.
So, well, I mean, it's not like we had that many listeners that could correct us, and the people that did listen had no idea what happened in fucking Mortal Kombat. So, I think we're okay for now. If anyone listens to this,
was
in the
the bad
future,
guy. He was the tiger and Mowgli, and he was the bad guy. So we were.
yeah,
We were pretty close.
I don't even know. That's Shere Khan. No. So Shere Khan it is a Mortal Kombat character.
Oh,
It's only after.
Yeah, he's after.
Yes, he's like the son of someone or something.
No, he's like the final. Like he is the emperor
Yes.
of Outworld.
No, that's Shang
Yeah,
Tsung.
no.
That's Shang Tsung.
No, sometimes like the what? Shao.
Why are we fucking arguing?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
This is long pause.
That was last week. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
I know that in the second 90s movie,
Yes.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation, he was the villain. Check, let me show you.
Yeah, he's the big guy. What's the hammer?
Didn't he have the...
He's like a half mask, like a.
Yes, like the bone...
Yeah, that's it.
skeleton
He's like your
mask.
super villain of always. Like he's your final boss.
Yeah, but
always.
he's not the villain of the Mortal Kombat movie we watched.
No.
That's Shang Tsung.
It probably will get to that. But
Probably.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, so when I listen to some of the podcasts that I listen to,
Yes.
after we didn't do too bad.
Yeah, we got a name
Like
wrong.
some of the stuff.
At all.
Yeah, I mean, there were other people that got other stuff wrong as well. So
Nice.
like the whole review on Call, the fact that it felt like a prequel, the fact that there's no fucking tournament, all of that.
Yeah.
All of that we hit the nail on it. So I think well done.
Kudos to us.
Yes.
Yes.
So whilst we're on the Mortal Kombat topic, so it got pumped at the box office. So it did well the first weekend. Then the second weekend it had a huge drop off, like 73%. Yeah.
Jeez.
So there was an argument about, okay, but is it because it released on both theaters and on HBO Max, and maybe people that would go normally for a second viewing didn't go. And I guess that plays a role, but I think also it's a shit movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if anyone watched it on like the first night it came out, if you'd spoken to friends, they would have probably got the idea enough. Like, would I rather just wait for it to come out on HBO? Or
if you have HBO Max, we'd watch it there.
Oh, anyway.
Go to the movie.
I'd rather do that.
I think the hardcore fans would probably still go to the movies, but
I wouldn't.
like we said, it sets up. So
Yeah.
Anyway, we've spoken a lot.
Oh, you're right. There, okay, cool.
Right, so as always, we have to cover 2 weeks worth of news.
Hey.
Then we've got a couple of trailers. Also, on the Sunday that we did the episode 1, it was the Oscars, and we didn't speak about it, although we recorded early, way before the Oscars actually happened. So we're okay. So we'll chat about a few things Oscar-y.
I only know one Oscar. That's like.
Yeah, and he's in prison.
You got caught with these blades.
Half a statue.
It deserves a standing ovation.
Oh my god. Stop it. We shouldn't joke.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway. So, and then we've got a whole bunch of... we've got some game news as well.
Hey.
And then we will jump into like a 3-series review. We won't review them in depth because you obviously haven't watched all of them. So we'll cover a little bit of Invincible.
Yes.
We'll do a little bit of Shadow and Bone. And then the latest one, which is Jupiter's Legacy.
Alright, yes.
And then once we're done there, we will do... What will we do? We will do play a little game.
Okay.
Which I'll explain to you. Well, which we'll explain once we get there.
Alright.
Cool. And then also we have to cover off some trailers that we need to check out.
Okay, cool. I'm happy with that.
Have you seen the Tomorrow War trailer?
The Tomorrow one? No.
Okay.
I haven't seen that yet.
Maybe I don't know what we're gonna do. Are you sure you didn't see the trailer?
Tomorrow World or Tomorrow War?
Tomorrow War.
Oh. No,
the technology is fantastic.
Yeah, it matters. Oh, Tomorrow. Yeah, I have seen it. But I'm not gonna lie, not 100% sure.
But shouldn't
What to expect?
shouldn't really come for anything because we have to do the news first. Then we'll talk about trailers.
Alright, okay, cool.
People will be so confused when they listen to that part.
We've got a structure, it matters.
Yes. Right. Cool, let's start with the news. So I'm going to start with what happened at the Oscars. I'm not going to go through much detail.
Okay.
I'm basically just going to go through the 3 main ones, or some of the main ones. So, which is the Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, and Best Actor.
Okay.
Right.
That's like big topics, but cool.
Yeah. So, Anthony Hopkins won for Best Actor for a movie called The Father or Father. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either. Okay.
But lately these Oscar-winning movies are pretty heavy.
I was gonna say it's pretty deep. That the
We
name
probably
of
should
it.
watch it if we're gonna continue a podcast that talks about movies. We should probably watch the movies that get awarded, right?
That's a good voice. Yeah.
one day, maybe in the future. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll watch it the next time. It's like we should have watched that one too.
Yeah.
But okay.
So then for Best Actress, Frances McDormand won her 3rd one, right?
Okay.
So just to give you an idea, that's no joke. So they're talking about her being like in the GOAT territory. It's like greatest of all time actress.
Or
like, and if I didn't see the face, I wouldn't have known who this is. Just like this name, doesn't mean.
Let me see the face. Yeah.
I'll show the face just now, but just to give you an idea of in what class she is. There's the people that have won 3 Oscars. Is Meryl Streep, Jack Nicholson, and Daniel Day-Lewis.
No.
He's the guy from Gangs of New York.
Hasn't he? I know who
Right?
he is. Yeah, what a legend.
So the only person to win more than that is Katharine Hepburn, and she won 4.
So she gets another one. She's on.
So exactly. So Frances McDormand wins another one. Let's see. I think she's in her 50s. So she's still got at least 2 or 3 more of these performances in her.
Yeah, easy. Yeah. Look, as it goes, like, I mean, Anthony Hopkins, clearly, she's got many.
So, it's her.
Okay, cool.
Right?
Why does the statue look like her?
I don't know what statue that is. Some other award ceremony.
Okay.
But she's been in movies like the 3 Billboards. What's that? 3 Billboards?
Three billboards.
I can't remember outside of Ebbing.
Okay, I need to know
She was the cop in Fargo, the movie in the 90s.
Oh.
That's what she won one for. Then
Okay.
she was in Burn After Reading, Almost Famous, Mississippi Burning. She's been. I mean, if you see her face, it's
No,
a
I
recognizable
recognize
face. I just
it.
didn't know she had won that many.
No.
Right, but then the movie that she won in this year for was a movie called Nomadland. Right, that got Best Picture.
Nomadland.
That was directed by, apparently it's about nomads. Like it's
That sounds
American
awesome.
nomads.
That
So
sounds
we'll
awesome.
have to watch it. It's one of those that I think is a pretty hard watch.
Oh, okay.
But again, you have to watch it
Hardcore.
to be able to say, go and make an opinion and then not watch it. Anyway, so that movie got Best Picture, Nomadland.
Oh, whoa.
And that director,
Okay.
Chloe Zhao, won Best Director.
Okay, so a lot of awards came directly from that alone, yeah.
Yes. That director is directing Eternals.
Hey, okay.
Yeah. So I'm really excited because even the guys at Marvel are saying that the Eternals is going to be, if not the best movie that they've put out ever.
Jeez, that's a statement of nice.
Yes.
Okay.
But we'll get to the Eternals in a second.
It's a good topic.
Yeah. Any other comments on the Oscars?
No, I had my moment. That was the only Oscar I could think of. But
So then we'll chat more about some of the announcements in terms of Marvel movies, but Russell Crowe apparently phoned into some sort of radio thing
okay.
and confirmed that he's been cast as Zeus in Thor.
Oh,
Yes,
man,
please.
that makes me happy. Oh, no,
Yes,
that's
please.
just the right kind of serious. Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
Oh,
do you? I don't know a lot about the gods.
oh,
in the comic
mythological.
books. I know a lot about the myths. I know like the story of the Greek gods. I know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I don't, because I know that story is very similar in the comic books. But apart from Hercules, I can't remember. Like Hercules, I know was in the comic books. Obviously, Thor I know very well.
Yes.
And because of Thor, you know Loki, you know Odin, and you
Yeah,
know
the rest kind of came with it.
the Norse mythology.
Yes. Yeah.
But other than Hercules, I can't ever remember seeing Zeus.
Yeah, they've never really.
But you'd
made something specific about him, which is.
you'd imagine that Thor and them would already know about him. I don't think it will be it's not going to be like, there's another god. I think Thor and them would already know about them.
Yeah, I don't think if they've never heard of it, then they're living under a rock, and
Yeah.
I doubt that.
So it would be. I would imagine that they would be existing in the universe.
Yeah.
But then it begs the question, where the fuck were they? And all that other
And
shit
who's the
happened.
bad guys here? Like, what becomes what?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be out of character for Zeus to be a bad guy. He's a bad guy in God of War.
Fair.
He's a bad guy in a lot of other stuff.
There's the.
He's not even in the mythology. He's not a great arc.
No. Oh, well,
Sorry,
they're portraying more like in the Titans. Clash of the Titans. Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't overly involved when he was played by Liam Neeson, right?
It was Liam Neeson. Yeah. He was a caring kind of version of Zeus, where he loved people and allowed them to live and tried not to intervene. But
yeah, so that they
wasn't
might
a
do.
big
So
role, but yeah.
in the I think if it's a question, it doesn't have to be. I don't think the general audience would need to ask that question. But if it's a question, okay, but where was Zeus and them before? They could easily answer that. Olympians have historically had this thing of not getting involved.
Oh, good save. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Because they don't.
That's fair. All of
The demigods get involved, like Hercules.
Where's he been all this time? Or like
what's that? Percival.
Perseus. Yeah. Perseus. Yeah.
So them, but again, you can easily explain it away. Remember, the Greek mythology has them going on quests all the time.
Okay, fair. Yeah. It'd be interesting how they tie that in. Yeah.
So unless the gods exist on a different universal plane or different cosmic plane, like
I'm thinking the same
like
thing.
the Norse mythology. So the Norse one is the tree with the 9 realms.
Yeah, Valhalla and
Valheim, there's Valheim, Nilfheim, Alfheim, Hell. No, it's a realm full of elves.
Yeah, nice.
But what's it? Jotunheim with the giants. The
Yeah, nice. Okay.
So it wouldn't. So that's their realm. And you would imagine if they exist, all other gods exist, because they kind of confirmed that with the Greek gods now existing. So the Greek gods would exist, but they would exist in their own cosmic plane.
Okay, that's cool. So maybe they don't know.
So Olympia, yeah, exactly. So they would. So, for example, the only way that they can get, well, originally, the only way they could get from Asgard to Earth is through the bridge.
Yes, yeah.
Or through I can't remember the character's name, the guy with the eyes.
It's
Idris Elba's character. Heimdall, yes.
Yeah.
Through that dark magic of his. Okay, and then Loki knows a couple of tricks to get here as well.
Oh, good on Loki, yeah.
But the point is, you have to get from one place to another place. It's not like you're just there. You know, it's not the same. Yeah. They don't exist on the same plane.
Did they stumble? He was banished to Earth. So.
Yes, but he still goes to Earth via the bridge.
Yes, yeah. And it's just
and
like, how did they find it?
New axe. His axe that he gets in Infinity War creates the same bridge. You can summon the Bifrost with the axe.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But again, they exist on two different planes, so it would make sense that they do the same thing with the Greek gods. So you could explain it. But I wouldn't go into too much detail. It would be easy for a character played by Russell Crowe to explain why they didn't get involved.
Done.
But it would be interesting whether or not they go the good guy route or the bad guy route, because I think Russell Crowe would be able to play both.
Yeah, because I was going to say also, like, if you think of what is already existing of what heroes are, you can't really make them the bad guys now.
The new it's going to be insane because
I love that concept.
Thor is obviously the lightning god for Norse mythology, and Zeus is the lightning god for Greek mythology. And the new movie is called Love and Thunder. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with that and if they play on it. Although
and that's such a good one because
he's thunder and he's lightning. But is there really a difference?
I picture there's going to be a cheesy line where someone says, it comes after. Thunder only comes after the lightning.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really awesome. Okay, cool. Russell Crowe.
So I think it's gonna be legit.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, cool. That would
all right. Then so I don't know if I'm gonna. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly put this in there. We're speaking about Norse and Greek gods. This is actually not new news.
Okay.
But I didn't. I came across this purely by accident. So I was fooling around on YouTube, and then I came across God of War. That's supposed to get a sequel. Guess when?
Oh, I mean, what was the last one? 2 years ago? So
2018.
3 years ago. Okay. Look, if they're starting to talk about it, maybe 2023.
So apparently they'd already been talking about it because this trailer was from last year November.
Oh, hey.
And the launch date that they had on the trailer. So there wasn't actually a trailer. It was just like an announcement.
Okay.
And the announcement said September of this year.
No, that's just gonna come out of nowhere then.
I don't see them.
Yeah, there's been all the delays.
How long? Yeah, I can't see them putting it out September this year. Has to be delayed, but they haven't announced anything officially. Like that was an official PlayStation announcement September of this year, right? That's about 5 months away. I guess if you drop a gameplay trailer in July, you'd be able to get enough hype for September.
Yeah, PlayStation tends to do that with the games specifically.
It's PlayStation 5. That console is selling out proper.
Yeah.
It will be just short of a year of release. It wouldn't be unheard of because the PlayStation 5 would be out for a year already.
Mm-hmm.
That thing it dropped now. The console dropped now last week again. It's sold out. Like I have not been able to get my hands on one for forever, and that's been a problem around the world.
No, you can't find it in the store or nothing.
A shitload of units already. So you can only imagine that, and God of War is a mainstay of PlayStation.
Yeah, that's their big name.
I remember they launched that thing, and they're not going to launch it for PlayStation 4. They might, but they'd launch it for PlayStation 5 and then make it backwards possibly give you an opportunity to do PS4, but I doubt, right? Because if they do that, then they would only do that if they fall short on sales, which they're not going to, because it's God of War 5.
And it'll probably limit like the game itself as well, what you can do. That'd be interesting to see how they do it, because again, everyone not being able to get a PS5, if it is specific only to PS5.
But those units that they originally launched sold out. It's not like they didn't sell enough units. It's just the market was far more
too much demand.
Hungry. Yes, they had far more demand for it than what they originally expected.
But but not my choice. But then thinking like it was a strategy. If people can wait that long to get the next PS5 when it comes, like if that is specific only for PS5, it's also going to create that demand so much more that everyone's going to want to get their hands on.
Exactly. So if
it's a good tactic.
If you stock up on the console, maybe do some minor upgrades on it, and then you launch. So September you launch God of War. And then October and November you do 2 huge stock drops.
Yes.
For going into Christmas.
And keep the sales going on. No, that's
you'd be sorted. They might even move God of War
closer to October, November-ish kind of thing. I wonder. No, that'd be very interesting to see.
That would make sense to me.
I love those ones like if that was really their tactic behind it. But if it was, I figure that would make sense.
Yeah. That would be big.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so I thought I'd bring that up.
That is news. That's relevant, everyone.
Right?
Yeah, that was relevant.
Cool. Then, interestingly enough, Flintstones is getting a sequel series called Bedrock. It's going to follow the Pebbles character, which is, I think, their daughter.
Yeah.
And it's going to go from the Stone Age to the Iron Age.
I can just see all the cheesy humor in there, but
yeah, I don't know. And the character is going to be played by Elizabeth Banks, who is a pretty funny actress.
I recognize the name. I'm pretty sure. If I see her, I'll know immediately. But I recognize the name.
Elizabeth Banks.
Okay.
She's the. She played in the. I think she
Glory. She's always like also the announcer.
She might have been. She was in. Oh, she's
also the judge on the a cappella stuff.
Yes. And she's in. I think she's in Ghostbusters. No, she's not in Ghostbusters. I'm thinking about the wrong lady. But she's the personal assistant in Spider-Man 3 with the Black Bob.
Oh, whoa!
Yeah, she's in Seabiscuit, 40-year-old version. She's in Sliver, which is James Gunn's movie.
Yes, yeah.
She's in Zack and Miri Make a Porter.
I can see her as being...
Next 3 days.
Do they say what she's cast as?
For...
Like in the Flintstones?
Yeah, she's the main character.
Oh, is she Pebbles? Yes. Oh, okay. I could... it's a Wilma. Wilma, yeah.
Yes.
I could see her playing that as well, weirdly enough. I don't know, like, I could see her either way. Like, that can work, yeah.
Okay. So, no, that's pretty much what we got for that.
And into the Iron Age.
I think it's... Yeah. Okay. I think it's cool because it's difficult with animations. Because is it gonna which crowd are you gonna go for?
Yeah, are you gonna go for childish like?
Yeah, but does our young generation? It will be a hit for the younger generation, but it won't. If they do an adult-ish version, like a more grown-up version in the style of maybe what you call it?
Like realism?
No, more like Family Guy. Not the same comedy, just the type of same level of adultery.
Yes, yeah.
Or if they go really, really, really hard, it would be too rough if you go R-rated. Yeah, no, so more like Family Guy, or will they go for the kid?
Or I would like they keep like a Family Guy level kind of thing.
Yeah, because that would be your target audience would be the people that had it as a.
Yeah, and kids could watch it, I guess, again, depending on how deep they go on that, how R-rated to an extent, or what visual kind of.
I guess even if they keep it, for kids, I suppose it will do well because every fucking parent that sees that's going to be like, oh, it's the Flintstones. You need to watch this.
Yeah, look,
you might keep
that's memories.
This is the Flintstones. Yeah, the Flintstones. Yeah, the Flintstones. Yes.
How can you do that? But is this the way
that it would be weird Why would you make a kid series and then cast Elizabeth Banks?
That's why I was curious on that. But I mean, you would have to be someone
more. Wow, that depends. If they do it like an half an hour, normal comedy, target audience is kind of family, but has enough jokes for kids to watch it, but has enough double entendres to keep the adults in it. Because they do that often.
I'm okay with that. Like, there's a piece of it's just weird. Like when you think about it now, is this the way? Like this is how we growing up. Sorry, is there's Flintstones being like Wilma, Fred. Now it's like when kids are growing up now, they might only know Pebbles. They
did do a futuristic version of it because Bam Bam marries Pebbles.
Oh man,
Bam Bam marries Pebbles.
I can't remember
if it was only episodes though, and whether or not they ran an entire season. Might have been only episodes. I'm right because yes. I wonder if they're going to still do that. I wonder if Bam Bam will be.
Oh, if he's not married to her now.
Or they're divorced.
Scandal.
Yeah, they're divorced.
Oh no. It's not a kid show anymore.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. It's a drama. It's HBO drama.
Yeah.
HBO drama.
She didn't like how he treated the dinosaurs.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking hell. Anyway, so.
I'm going to
speaking of dinosaurs. Were you a fan of Game of Thrones?
Oh, huge!
The gods,
huge. Like, is there anyone? If you haven't seen it, you're not living.
Loser. Like Jared thinks you're a loser.
Yeah, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. No, huge fan. Yeah.
When did you watch it from the get go, or did you only get into it a little bit later?
Actually, only a little bit later. I'll generally share. I'm not always like whenever there's like a big hype about something. Look, a few years ago, it would have been the thing. I'm like, I'll give it. I'll see if I want to even bother. And I probably only started watching Game of Thrones like a year or two after it was hyped. And then I was probably the guy that was hyping it every day as well.
For the first 5 seasons, the only things I kept seeing from it were some of the shitty scenes. Like I always go and get into the middle of some sort of dramatic result or dramatic reaction from a character. Okay. Essentially, just you get as soon as you start watching it, it's like no, this is a soapy. Right? That's how unlucky it was that I every time I saw, because back then there wasn't streaming or something that you can just watch from the start. At least I didn't have access to any of it. So
no, me neither. Yeah.
The only times I would see it is when an episode of it will pop up on Internet. So which is our local TV channel. So in 2015, my partner's sister gave us a hard drive with all of it on.
Hey, that's my life. Yeah,
First 5 seasons. Then I kind of got through the first episode, second episode, third episode, and then it kind of got traction.
Yeah.
So first season is slow, but it's intriguing.
Oh,
because there's it asks a lot of questions.
It hits moments like deep. I had to push the first episode that really killed me, and then I really
enough in it for me because you forget about the first 5 minutes.
Well, it's such an important episode. Even I went like the first time I watched, like honest truth, I watched it. First episode, I'm like, oh no, I can't do this. I gave it like 2 weeks. I'm like, let me try this again. And within the first episode was great. I don't know what happened the first time. I don't know. It just. Yeah,
I actually watched the whole of Game of Thrones twice. Anyway, so I end up binging the first 5 seasons. So yes,
yeah, it makes sense.
Anyway, so don't like talking about Joedette in that depth. So the reason why I brought it up is that one of the prequel. So it finished, right?
Yeah.
Let's call it the ending divisive. Okay.
Okay.
So they then shortly after announced that there will be 5 prequel sequel series.
Okay, probably, and I would imagine explaining Jon Snow's background.
I don't know whether or not they'll use the main characters. I think the series will be about either historical or what happens after. It will revolve around the entire universe.
How cool would be one explaining the wall, like how it came about? And
the wall?
Yeah.
Yes. But it will take away a lot from what a Game of Thrones series would be.
Oh, well, yes.
Political annihilation, backstabbing, fucking your sister. All things Game of Thrones.
Adultery, but yes, that is exactly it.
Incest. Games of incest.
Like how do you
brings a
describe
whole
it?
new meaning to dethroning. Anyway, so one of the prequel series is already in production.
Great.
The first pictures came out for it already, called House of Dragons.
Oh,
So I don't know if you know the history.
Look, I know bits of it, like yes, but not. But I mean, if it's
Well,
House of Dragons, it would be probably
It's Targaryen related. Yes,
yeah.
it's 300, or it's going to be apparently set 300 years prior to the main story.
Man.
It's got some pretty cool casting choices. It's not you won't recognize a lot of them. So, for example, Matt Smith, that guy, he's from the Doctor Who. And and he plays Prince Philip in The Crown.
Does he just not look like he's a brick face? I don't know, but okay.
Paddy Considine I know, Rhys Ifans I know.
I recognize him, yeah.
Yes. So the first images came out already. So
what?
That one, yeah. They look pretty good.
I was gonna say, well, it follows the typical Targaryen kind of look.
Yes, House of the Dragon.
Oh,
so
there's probably gonna be more dragons around. Like
yes, because in this era they still have a lot of dragons.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome. Okay.
But, and I don't know exactly, but where they're gonna start off with it. But remember, the dragons end up in a civil war, and they annihilate one another. That's how the dragons.
That's gonna be so good.
Died out. So you can see the costumes looks excellent. So yeah, it looks really, really, really good.
They did the dragons. I'm missing us like of shows like when they do dragons and the way they look and they end up. It eats me up.
Yeah,
slowly.
listen, we'll see.
I'm looking forward to that.
We'll see how this goes. HBO hasn't. Like, there's been a couple of shows that have come out since, but HBO doesn't have a mainstay series.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean Silicon Valley ended, which was a comedy series.
Okay.
I think they tried to launch something called Avenue 5, but that didn't really work out. And then, Game of Thrones ended in 2019.
Yeah, I guess they've probably got the
so
right.
they haven't, what's HBO had since then?
Yeah.
And HBO, I mean, before Game of Thrones, they had The Sopranos. I think before or during they had The Wire. They always have like a cornerstone show that draws viewers regularly. But they haven't had one in a while. So listen, the success rate's pretty good. I can't see them fucking this up.
No, I think on their own basis that they want to keep that franchise like at that same level.
Yeah.
I think that pressure would push them to do a really great job anyway.
Yeah. So apparently this is supposed to come out next year.
Whoa.
Second half of next year.
Okay. Good.
So that's good.
Yeah, that's really good.
Targaryens are front and center. So it's based on we'll read this to you, takes place 300 years before the events of Game of Thrones. The series will follow the Dance of the Dragons, the Targaryen civil war between siblings Aegon II and Rhaenyra, who fought for the throne after the death of their father, Viserys I. The Dance of the Dragons pits Westeros' great houses, including the Lannisters and Starks, against each other, and resulted in the death of House Targaryen's most powerful dragons. Soon after the war, they would go extinct until Daenerys Targaryen would give birth to the three dragons 3 centuries later. So I haven't read the books, but there's a lot of channels that summarize the books for you in a pretty cool way.
Okay,
I've watched most of that.
Okay.
Really good.
Yeah, I mean, look, the books are pretty great.
For this.
I don't like reading, so
I really can't fucking wait.
Yeah, I already just the way they've introduced that.
I can't wait.
I'm always good.
And then this is pretty good. So it seems like Martin will be pretty.
Who's Martin?
George R. Martin, the writer.
Oh, okay.
So it seems like he will be very involved. So he. I don't know whether or not he was really that involved with season 7 and 8.
I think there's a lot of drama on it, yeah.
But I think a lot of the writing went to them. Like they had free reign to do whatever they wanted to, and I think that was a mistake. They should have keep the story different to what he's trying to do in the books because he doesn't have his story flushed out there. But then just have him as a backbone.
Yeah, because like he's the, what do you want to call it, the creator of it, like another person to see his vision through.
That's what it is.
Yeah, allow him to see it through at least. Like,
So Ramin Djawadi will do the music or the score. He's the guy from Game of Thrones.
Okay. Shane, the guy that never gets mentioned, but now I know who he is. That's good, yeah.
And it's the only, so this is the only confirmed Game of Thrones spin-off. So, like I said, there's a bunch of others. So, did I say, so they want to do various ideas. Tales of Dunk and Egg, which we'll get to. It's also, it's like a mini book.
Dunk and Egg?
Dunk and Egg, yes. So it's Aegon, it's Duncan the Tall and Aegon Targaryen. Like a buddy cop type.
I just thought of a breakfast kind of setup, like Dunk and an Egg.
Then there's a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which is, I can't remember what knight they were referring to, but I know that.
That sounds awesome, no?
10,000 ships that would focus on the War Queen Nymeria. This is pretty cool. It actually in the original Game of Thrones story they speak about Nymeria and how she traveled.
Yeah, I feel like I recognize.
Yes. So she came from one of the other eastern countries and traveled upward to Dawn. That would also be pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
So that happens 1,000 years before the events of Game of Thrones, so that would be pretty good.
This is going in progression, like how long ago kind of thing. So as you've mentioned each one.
Yeah, there's a bunch of others. There's 9 Voyages, the Sea Snake, Flea Bottom. But listen, there's a lot of that's shitty name. Anyway, but there's a lot about the Game of Thrones universe that they can do. There's an entire continent worth of storytelling.
Its own story, like
yes, that's available to them, and they can have a little bit of creative.
I mean, through these stories, there could be more stories from that as well.
Yeah, because
please don't ever stop. Don't ever stop.
All of the stories have, or all of the countries, or all of the areas have some sort of mystical, fantastical element to them. Right, so we know Game of Thrones for White Walkers, humans, and dragons, but there's
a portion,
yes, but that's only one continent in an entire world.
Yeah,
there's a lot of other stuff, and that's only we cover 20 years.
Well, in that,
I mean, not even. We cover a couple of years. We cover maybe 8 to 10 years. We cover a decade in a story that ran for over 100 years. Like. One of the stories that would be great is if they do a prequel series directly before, like with the Mad King and everything.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
Actually, and there's room for that.
Yes.
Just don't stop.
Anyway, but this is a good start.
That'd be awesome.
Let's hope they
So next year,
right. Second half of next year, yes.
Great.
Alrighty, so that covers last week's news. Right, let's talk about this week's stuff. Let me just open this up because there's still a lot to cover off. Are you excited about the Game of Thrones stuff?
Oh man. So things like, again, it's just the concept of what they can do with that. I love Game of Thrones. Like I was always, the only thing, like, and I can think in the back of my head is again, like when they do this, it's gonna be. One episode comes out and then you watch it and then a week later you've got to wait for the next one. I don't know if I can go through that.
I wonder, they'll do that.
I know, and it pains.
It's rough.
Yeah, I went on that, like that's the stupidest thing to
especially when they do those long ass episodes in between where nothing really happens.
Yeah, and then right at the end.
Yeah.
It's like next time.
But that actually for me works better than what they did in 7 and 8, because in 7 and 8 they gave you what you wanted. It happened immediately, and then it takes away a lot of the
there's more to it. They could have been.
Oh yes, they could have easily run another 5 seasons.
Yeah,
they tried to do all of that in 2, which I think was silly. Okay, cool. So let's go to a couple of the next stuff. We spoke about Spider-Man to the last time.
Yeah.
I don't know, did we speak about the Sony Netflix deal? I think
No, I don't remember. No.
So Sony and Netflix came up with a deal where all of Sony's stuff will go to Netflix. I think they have the priority to stream their stuff. So after it's on theaters, it will go to Netflix first before anywhere else.
Yeah.
So essentially their deal is to be, instead of Sony starting their own streaming platform, they'll just use Netflix as a platform, which I think is a cool idea.
Great.
But then after that, after it's been on the Netflix for a the right amount of time, Disney has the streaming rights for I think for Sony stuff as well as the Spider-Man stuff. So you will now have your entire MCU library on Disney Plus.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Look, you're going to wait a bit longer, but I mean,
but it will eventually.
Patience isn't the worst thing.
But it was a pretty big deal. I can't remember the exact amount.
Yeah.
So Disney. But the point of this is Disney is making a lot of big moves, and they are starting to become a pretty big competitor, and they're not even in all the markets yet.
I was just saying, I'll admit I haven't even got there yet, and what you're telling me now, I'm
South
like,
Africa, so
oh well.
Yeah.
If I did, it would be wrong, so I don't. But
cool. Anything you want to add on that?
No.
Pretty boring, I guess.
I don't know if there's anything on there. Just out of interest, what is the possibility of Disney then going into the market, and things like that? What are we looking at? Because if they're building a big market, surely
they haven't made an announcement for their smaller markets yet.
Okay.
Just don't see us being a priority market.
Okay.
Anyway, so then one of the things we already touched on the last time we had a pod was Captain America 4.
Yes.
So there's been some news about it, and the major outlets reported on it after we did, which is great.
Okay. Winning.
So now we really touched on that, and it's gonna. Well, I didn't spoil it for you because you have to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier first. But it seems like that's been pretty much confirmed.
Okay.
The creator of Falcon and Winter Soldier, the showrunner, I mean, he will head up the movie as well.
And did he do a good job of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all
cool.
things considering. When you watch it, you'll see that there's some obvious stuff that they removed because this was done prior to the pandemic. And then they removed a couple of things because of it, and there's some of the editing, and you're like, ooh. But overall, it's not bad.
What moment was it that? What did they?
No, there's a few of the story and plot lines where you're like, is that what you wanted to do there? And you're like, right?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So we covered off that already. So we spoke about this the last time around. I spoke about Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people like that movie. I think it's a shit movie. What I think of the previous Godzilla, King of Monsters.
Oh yeah.
Versus Godzilla vs. Kong. People have the opposite opinion.
No, why is that?
Most of them are. So I don't know.
Ironically, after we had our pod, and I say on the pod, it's never been a topic I discussed. I randomly started, someone randomly just brought it up, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Kong versus Godzilla was." Oh, it wasn't that great, but it was really cool. Mad respect for Kong. It was a gangster kind of thing. But anyway, it's mad respect for Kong because at the end he really shows up. It's like, oh yeah, nice. And then I just bought it up, and I haven't seen it, but I'm like,
it just doesn't.
I was like, great, it sounds good, but Kong, King of Monsters. Godzilla, King of Monsters. And before you even touch on, he's like,
again,
was way better. It's just way better. So I'm curious, where that's from, but so far everyone has, without a doubt, agreed King of Monsters, no competition almost.
Yeah.
So, and I saw a very short version of the fight. I hate the idea that somehow he's fighting a robot. It just, I don't know. Like, I mean, mythological Titan creatures and a robot.
Well, listen, I get it because it's about Kaiju's. They wanted to bring in a mecha. Cool, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But you had no right. Like you just you just didn't do enough for me to go like fuck yes.
Like amazing stuff.
Yeah, no. Anyway, so the studio have now announced that, or it sounds like they are announcing they're going to do a Son of Kong to follow up on
Son of Kong.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
how
cool.
Where's the mother of
I don't
Kong?
know, maybe he got some nook when they went.
Was Godzilla the mother?
I don't know.
No, okay.
I don't know.
Like really how?
I mean, Godzilla himself is, I don't know what you call it, but he can lay eggs. He doesn't have to mate. Because they build species.
Oh, yeah, that's a fair point.
But
I guess
Kong,
the very first.
Kong is not. Kong is very much.
He's alone. Like, they made that very specific, like, I don't know. He's the last.
I guess you don't have to do something where they're related. It just has to be after. You don't have to, like, you understand what I'm saying? It's like a second experiment, or maybe they do experiments on gorillas with Kong's blood.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
One experiment goes wrong, and then it's that gorilla turns into Kong.
Okay, I'll
in the future,
accept that.
Kong passed away, or Kong's very old, or he's very sick, whatever, and then the experiment goes wrong. I mean, that's
Well, I kind of like that concept, like Kong's passed away, and now like the world needs some form of protection.
Or maybe like that, yes,
and
where they can't resurrect Kong, but they use his DNA to recreate a son.
Guys, if you weren't doing that, this is a better version. This is a better version. Go with that. Yes. Yeah, I kind of like that actually.
Or,
okay, I can work with
you
that.
can go, it goes completely wrong, and Son of Kong is complete bad.
You see? Yeah, I'm okay with that.
And then you get Godzilla to save the day.
No, we're gonna have a robot.
Or you can get the Power Rangers to save the day.
Do you ever feel like it's
That's how fucking ridiculous Kong and Kong versus Godzilla was. That's how ridiculous.
Power Rangers, I love that you said that. Yeah.
No, but listen, if they do the whole experiment thing, or maybe there's some sort of other threat.
Okay.
It's in the future. All the Titans are dead or whatever, extinct, or it's in whatever the case might be, and then a new threat comes up. It could also be an alien threat from a comet or something, which would be cool. And then they have to recreate a Titan. It's about these people trying to, they've got the last little bit of DNA. It's the last hope. This fucking thing is tearing up all of Earth. Maybe kill a couple of people, main characters.
That sounds right.
Make it investable, and then they create the Son of God.
I've got the Power Rangers thing. All I feel like is there's going to be some random animal fighting a gorilla, and the gorilla loses, and then it throws down sparks, and all of a sudden it gets bigger. It's fighting like a Power Ranger. That's great, man.
Anyway. So yeah, listen, the MonsterVerse is not better than what most people expected. So the first Kong Skull Island was a great movie. I like that.
Man, it's so good, yeah. And they touched on, like, I remember in the one version, like how Kong's parents died, and like they do give some version of. So I mean, just be really interesting.
But yeah, that movie wasn't bad. The first Godzilla movie I didn't watch, but from what I've heard, it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I know that one.
You have King of Monsters, which I like. Not a lot of other people did.
Surprising.
And then you get Kong versus Godzilla, which a lot of people like. I didn't. And now they're going to do Son of Kong. So I mean, it's
something.
It's been relatively successful so far. Yeah, cool. Whatever. I don't. It's nothing else.
But one kind of interesting saying this now, like from the first Kong, like in size and things like that. I've never bothered to actually take it into comparison. I'd like
so
to
a lot of people have made mention about that, but I could have sworn, I think in Skull Island actually,
Yes.
they did speak about him never stopping to grow. Or they made mention in some movie where they talk about
I want to take note of that.
that he keeps growing.
But he's still young, or he hasn't fully grown up. Or,
yeah, so it is mentioned. So when he showed up as big as Godzilla, or at least as tall, it didn't surprise me that much because it's in line with at least how I remember the character for. So it's
okay, it's justifiable. Yeah, okay.
Speaking of crazy fucking crossovers, did you see? I can't remember if they were joking or something, or they were saying it in jest, where they said that, and we should actually do this. Remember when we spoke about villain balls? So for you out there, we're gonna do not villain balls. We're gonna do character balls, where it's a stadium. And then movie characters from different franchises.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so we still have to do the Mortal Kombat one versus the Fast and Furious. But the Fast and Furious people are in their cars. Right, so we have to do that one. But then...
Are they cars or tanks or planes? Because I don't know anymore.
Whichever that character drove. As long as the character had driven that particular vehicle...
It's okay.
It's okay. So if they drive a boat, they can... If they flew a plane...
Oh, this is great.
Right? Doesn't matter. Okay? But then... There's this crossover that they spoke about between, wait for it, the Jurassic Park dinosaurs.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And?
Yeah, please let it be good.
And?
Yeah.
Fast and Furious. Yes.
Oh, no.
I can't remember where. I can't remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah. How did they? Okay. That's great.
I think it was just in jest. I think it was just a joke.
Yeah.
It's not entirely impossible. Blah 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 blah. No. Just no.
What if it's not? Okay. Yeah.
Just no.
Well, that could be great.
No, don't do that. Don't.
Okay.
Don't do that. Yes, Fast and Furious Jurassic Park crossover possible, says director. Fuck off. They're gonna go to space first and then end up in some sort of, I don't know. How?
It'll make me laugh. I'll give it that.
Although Jurassic Park doesn't happen in the past, it happens in this day and age.
Yeah.
So, still no. Do they go for a race at the park? Under what circumstances would they end up there? Oh, fuck.
No. Look, I think it could be funny. I'll go as far as that. Like, it's going to be extreme as anything, but I mean, yeah.
I didn't mention this actually. So, when we spoke about, I just saw this now. Sorry for the janky change up. What's his name? Christian Bale.
Okay.
Also in Thor. I forgot. He's the villain.
Oh,
he's the God Butcher.
The God Butcher.
Yeah.
That sounds badass.
Yeah.
It's just the right kind of badass. Like,
yeah. So
okay.
Go on.
So I've never seen him as a villain.
No, he's an American Psycho.
Oh, flip. Yeah, actually. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be.
But that's going to be well cast. Like, I'm not going to lie. That just gets better and better.
Amazing. It's going to be great. I fucking can't wait. Anyway.
Alright.
What else? So we already spoke about Son of Kong. Oh, so just on some of the Marvel stuff. So obviously there's been WandaVision.
Yes.
There's been Falcon and Winter Soldier, all happening in the MCU.
Okay.
Then there's talk about they're doing an Ironheart series. I'm not sure if you know about the comics. Yeah. So they brought out a comic book now in the 2020s or the 2000s. Or 2010s. I can't remember exactly where it got launched.
Kind of thing, yeah.
Okay. So it's about this genius chick that is inspired by Iron Man, and then she designs her own Iron Man-like suit. But it's called Ironheart. Right, but the whole idea is the comics are supposed to be transformative and evolve. So it's a lady character, a black lady character.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. I think it's a good cool character if it's done right.
Yeah, okay.
But that series has now a writer. So I actually saw an episode of it's called Amazing Stories. It's on Apple Plus. I don't know if you remember Amazing Stories from the past. It's like an old old series they used to do where it's an anthology where they have this one theme for the episode, and normally the characters would change. Anyway, the episode that this chick wrote was pretty good. Really,
okay.
Good. So, and then she also wrote a couple of episodes of Snowpiercer, which is also on Netflix.
Oh, that's big hit though.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So she's going to be the lead writer for the Ironheart series.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Which I think is
it's just they're not. Is this their way of replacing Iron Man kind of thing? Like that?
No. The character is never a replacement character.
Okay, good.
Yeah, she's
that's just
more of a sideline character than she is a.
I'm cool with that. Yeah. Okay, cool.
But it's the same with Miss Marvel. So you have Captain Marvel, and then Miss Marvel is the Miss Marvel.
I do miss it.
Yeah. So no, the movie that we saw on the trailer, The Marvels.
Yes.
It will have Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, and then Miss Marvel. But Miss Marvel also has a TV series that's coming out.
Okay,
So
that's interesting.
Quite interchanging between the.
Oh man. Okay.
Right.
Sure.
So speaking of things we saw, let's touch on that. Things that we know on the Marvel stuff. Let's chat about that. Let's chat about the Loki series.
Okay.
The movies coming out and stuff like that. So first off, let's still touch on the Loki series. What did you saw the trailer? What did you think?
Yeah. So I think like I understand like where that came from, like the time being kind of broken.
I think it looks awesome.
I was gonna say like I like, you know, like I think he's not the good guy. I like those kind of versions. Like he's not necessarily the good guy.
It's gonna be the anti-hero.
Yeah, and I'm kind of okay with that. Like, well, actually more than okay with that. It's just not. I think it's different again. It's not that obvious doing it because you want to be good.
Yeah,
I guess like he's gonna have to do it. But it'd be nice to see like how it ties in with the whole. Like with the movies, like what's the outcome? Like, it'd be very interesting to see how that.
This is the one series that I'm not sure if it's going to be that. It's going to be tied in. Like it's going to borrow a lot about from the main universe.
Yeah,
and it cuts off from there anyway. But because it's diverging timelines, diverging universes. Do you remember that story called Quantum Leap?
Quantum Leap.
That's maybe not the best examples. So essentially, what I think it's gonna happen is he's one variant of multiple Lokis.
Mm.
So we're gonna encounter multiple outcomes. So we'll encounter a world where Loki won the war. We'll encounter a world where Loki became president, which is actually in the comics.
I think I remember hearing something about that.
We'll encounter a world where Loki is a woman. So I think.
Sorry, just with his long hair, really. I don't know how much more they have to change.
I think he would be played by the same person. But yeah, I'm really, really excited to see what they do with that. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I can't see where they can really go wrong with that.
Yeah,
that's going to be awesome.
So, so that's one. Another. So we saw the. Let's go back to the movies trailer. The Marvel trailer. We've obviously seen the Black Widow trailer, which looks awesome. That's coming out in July. They show us Shang-Chi, which is coming out in September.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And then they show us the Eternals. So, for those of you who don't know, a lot of people won't. Just open up what the Eternals are.
I'll be included in that.
So the Eternals are a race of humanoids. Yes. They are described as an offshoot of the evolutionary process that created sentient life on Earth. The original instigators of this process, the alien Celestials, intended the Eternals to be the defenders of Earth, which leads to the inevitability of war against their destructive counterparts, the Deviants. So essentially, for example, there's a lot of stuff in the historic Marvel universe that happened prior to actual what we know as the standard line of time.
Oh yeah.
Part of which is the Krees came to Earth and the tests on the early humans.
The Krees.
Yes.
The Krees.
The Kree. Yes. They're the blue alien race.
Okay.
So they did tests on the human beings, and the humans then or those humans then have a gene in them that is hidden and is activated by pterogen crystals, aka inhumans.
Okay.
But before that, there were the Celestials, which are those robot-looking things in the movies. With I'll show you.
Yeah, from Thor, isn't it? That's
Yes.
the Protector, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that thing, yeah.
So they come to Earth and they create the Eternals. They're supposed to be the protectors of Earth.
Oh.
But then there's tests go wrong, and it's the Deviants. The Deviants, for example,
The
Thor.
Like, wouldn't you be bad if you were called a
Thanos.
deviant, though? It's like,
Or maybe you're bad and then you're called a deviant. I don't know. But then Thanos was also a deviant, just a later version.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Eternals and the Deviants then leave Earth, I think. Or they end up leaving, or do they all call the Eternals? They only become Deviants later, if I remember correctly. But they leave Earth, so some of them end up on Titan, and some of them just end up all over space.
Okay.
Some of them stay behind. Right? This happens like 1,000 years before.
What we know. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But then for the Eternals, the group of Eternals that we will get to know, they've got a character called Sprite, I think. That has because the character is small.
She bubbles and makes you feel
small,
good.
yes. She has the ability to take away memories.
Oh, okay.
Which would explain why the Eternals weren't in any of the previous.
Oh, they covered that nicely, yeah, okay.
So what I think is going to happen is they're going to give us a dual timeline type of story. They'll give us a little bit of the past, what happened in the past, who they are, where they come from, origins. But I think the main story will be present day and how they find themselves back to one another. Because when you saw that little bit of the trailer, it seems as though that they
It's very short, like it's hard to...
No, it's hard to say where, but it does seem to indicate a past version of them, because there's the one shot where they're in front of Babylon's gates.
Okay.
So it does seem that they go past and present.
Oh, that's awesome, okay.
So, but just to go through some of these people in this movie, right? This is one of the, and remember now, this is now a double Oscar-winning director attached to this.
Like is a director already, like...
Yeah, that's all. I mean, this is almost done. So,
yeah.
To give you an idea of the cast, so it's Kit Harington.
Show me a picture of Kit Harington.
It's John Flynn.
Right.
Okay. So he's a character called Black Knight, which they also... he's not an internal, but he's in the Eternals. Also a comic book character, also a pretty cool character. So he might get his own movie, which is great.
That'd be great, yeah. Bring more.
Angelina Jolie as Tina. Richard Madden, who was Rob Stark.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's Icarus.
Icarus. That name.
Gemma Chan as Cersei. It's got Millie Bobby Brown, which is 11 in Stranger Things.
Okay, yeah.
Kumail Nanjiani, Kingo, that guy. Also comic relief. Madame Siok as Gilgamesh, Salma Hayek.
Gilgamesh.
Yeah, Salma Hayek's in it as well.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's big names. Like, that's really big names, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not even all of them. There's a bunch of other characters as well. But anyway, so massive cost. So,
jeez.
Yeah, and they are saying, well, the guys at Marvel, it's their movie, so I would assume they would say something like this.
They're not going to say it's the worst.
But yes, but they are saying they don't normally punt their movies that much before, but they are saying this is probably the best Marvel movie they've ever done.
Whoa. That's a strong statement.
Statement.
Jeez. Okay.
Now,
like in a universe that's so successful already.
Yeah, Kevin Feige really I don't know the context in which he said this, but he already said this is going to be an Oscar contender for Best Picture next year.
Whoa.
Again,
strong goal. Strong. Yeah, that might be some of those things you don't say because probably when someone's like, I don't know.
We'll see. Anyway, yeah. so looking good. And then they've given us a bunch of other stuff. So Spider-Man's still coming this year. Doctor Strange coming next year.
Oh,
Thor,
Doctor
Love and
Strange,
Thunder.
man.
Yeah. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which, because obviously Chadwick Boseman passed away.
Oh, okay, flip, okay.
Yeah, so I don't. They're saying that they got a perfect way of
Like filling.
respectfully changing the character because they're not going to recast. So T'Challa, who's the Black Panther in the universe, won't be the Black Panther anymore because obviously it's
Well, you can't.
they'll probably kill him off, I guess. Well, they have a respectful way of doing it and giving us a new Black Panther or new Black Panther character. But how are they going to do that?
Maybe it's like a traditional thing, like someone else beats him in combat and he passes the reign over kind of thing.
Oh, but would they do that if the real person actually passed away?
No, I don't know. That's all. Like, that'd be very interesting.
I don't know.
Like,
They should just recast the person. I think if they took Michael B. Jordan, who played the villain in the first Black Panther movie,
Okay.
he played Killmonger. If they took him and recast him as Black Panther, and did it in a way where all they explain is that, listen, we thought that this person would carry on Chadwick Boseman's memory the best. That for me would have been fine.
No, okay. Oh, it's just like
It would have
now.
been an acceptable way of overriding the character. But now, I don't know what they're going to do now because they're hanging up the
This would
job.
be interesting. Like, is there a good version of it though? Like, because
No,
I guess like
it's a bit of a selfish thing,
yeah.
so we'll see.
Jeez. It would surprise us. It'd be really great. Like, hey, maybe it's something really. You're like, oh, that was good.
Then we're getting the Marvels, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania, which is going to have the character called Kang the Conqueror, which is a time traveling character.
That sounds
He's
awesome.
huge. He's a huge villain.
Yeah, Kang's the Conqueror. I love it,
Yes.
man. Okay.
So he's a time traveling villain. See, we spoke about this before with Spider-Man. Seemingly
Multiple
casting
universe, yeah.
people from multiple universes. The Doctor Strange movie called Multiverse of Madness, and then the Ant-Man movie having a time traveling character in it called Quantum Mania, and the Quantum Realm is a different universe in itself that gives you the ability to travel through time, travel through to different universes. So it does seem to be lining up that sort of.
Maybe it's like a group up again
Yeah.
against one common enemy kind of thing. Yeah.
And then we've got Guardians of the Galaxy 3 coming out finally.
Oh, yes.
And then
That's
the
gonna be
good old Fantastic Four. And that trailer did not include Blade, which recently changed production dates.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's changing a little bit. They're starting shooting a little bit later, which is fine because it's got a lot of content to go through anyway.
Yes.
So it excludes Blade. It excludes Deadpool. No news on
Deadpool.
Yes, no news on X-Men yet. And those things are all happening.
Yeah, like
Just-
that
just
will never
at this
end
point.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, as far as the Marvel universe is concerned, they still got the She-Hulk series, the Hawkeye series, which got a first look the other day. So Hawkeye is handing over the baton to, I can't remember, it's not his daughter, but to a new character.
Okay.
We've still got Armor Wars with Rhodey, Iron Man's buddy.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So apparently, Stark's tech gets into the wrong hands. It's going to be about fighting that. So the original comic is actually Iron Man doing the exact same thing. But
Yeah.
it's Iron Man tech. So it will be Rhodey's character doing that, which I think is cool. I think it's
Yeah, it
it's
can
gonna be
work.
interesting.
Like, okay.
So that's just series, and
Like
then you
stock
have all
stuff
of
always
these
just gets
movies
stolen though, right? Like it always just gets.
into the wrong hands.
Can't they
But
just
then how the fuck
build
do you-
something that doesn't allow?
But then there would be no story.
No. It's like I think all I can think of is like he's taken, like and they joke like at some point you got to wonder if he's just a really bad dad and his kids keep getting stolen. All I can think is like now his stock stuff keeps getting stolen. Like just build a safe that doesn't allow it to steal. But hey, no, that ruins the story. But
Yeah,
just
put in what then there's no
yeah, something's got to be stolen. But
so there's a lot of stuff. So then speaking of comic book movies and news, we also have an announcement that DC. I don't know. Do you see DC fandom? Fandom. Sounds like some sort of fucking advert for Wakanda. DC fandom. The cop fandom. Silly. Anyway, so it's essentially the you know how they used to have the announcements at Comic Con. You'll have DC will have an announcement panel, Marvel will have the
yeah.
So Marvel's version of that happened during the Disney called. It's called an investor's call, but it's kind of like a video presentation of everything that's coming and everything that's going to happen over the next couple of years and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's a convention.
Yeah, it's
digital
like, hey,
convention.
be prepared.
So DC's version of that is the DC Fandom, which is DC's owned by Warner Brothers. So it's technically Warner Brothers comic book division. Anyway.
Okay, yeah.
So, some of the stuff we can expect is the Batman. That's supposed to come out March 2022.
Okay,
Just
cool.
So far off, we already have the trailer.
So yeah, that's a bit of a
about
stretch.
8 months. Yeah, but it's obviously been delayed because of
Okay.
what's that pandemic thing called again? Oh yes, COVID.
What?
Black Adam. Which is the Rock. So there's sort of.
That's such a good cause, man.
I can't lie.
I think The Rock just.
I don't know if The Rock can play a baddie though. We'll have to see.
I think it's just.
But he's going to be an anti-hero. So it's not exactly going to be.
That's all. I think he can rock. He can rock it. But when they I can't. Just when
normally
bald and everything, he was supposed to be that role.
Yes.
It actually just works.
But how they normally buff up the suits, right? They give you a body suit.
Oh yeah,
so you look, big and strong.
Can they even do that for him?
They're not going to.
That's
the
so
first
badass,
time
man.
that a comic book character does not need a rip suit.
What if they did buff him up even more?
How would you do that?
No, I know. What did they look like? Like Black Adam becomes Hulk.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, yeah. That's pretty badass, though.
Yeah. So then, what else? There's a bunch of other stuff they're going to bring in there, but now this list that I'm using is not working anymore. Let's do this. Oh, here we go. So, Flash. So remember when it's supposed to come out next year in November, right? So remember when we spoke about it and I said, I'm not going to know what they didn't know what they're going to do with the movie. It's going to be in and out universe. So there's a new Superman movie that they're going to do.
Okay.
But it seems like they're going to use, like in the comics, there's a black Superman, which is not the Clark Kent character. It's a completely different character.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if they're going to do the Clark Kent character, but do a black Superman that way, or do a different character but a black Superman.
And so first off, cast or anything yet?
No, nothing yet. They just announced that J.J. Abrams was going to reboot it. And J.J. Abrams, he rebooted Star Trek, he rebooted Star Wars.
It's been good.
So it's a good choice, right? Yeah. So there's obviously been a lot of kickback because you're doing a black Superman. It's not my Superman. The first Superman was Jewish. He was created by Jewish people. So what are you talking about?
Yeah, really?
The color of the character has nothing to do. I'm not saying people. Anyway, so it's going to be cool to see what they do because they're also apparently doing a period piece.
But that's like a whole background story change and everything like that. Interesting.
Yes, but if they do a period piece, a 20th century period piece, depending on where you drop them, it's going to be it can be a great movie. Imagine
COVID.
Well, no, it's 20th century. So imagine you drop a black Superman in late 1950s, 1960s America.
Wow, that'd be amazing. Yeah,
it's gonna be like what like the strongest man in the universe is black in a segregated America.
Jeez.
How insane that would be very rough. Good story though.
No, I was just saying that could be like a very it'd be
But I think it's awesome. Even if they do stock standard Superman. If they do another fucking Clark Kent origin story, I'm gonna cock in my pants.
Yeah, Clark Kent.
That's not gonna.
Much more of a background.
No, it's gonna like really. We know the story.
We get it,
right?
He just puts glasses on and he's different. It's okay. We're okay with that.
I'm okay if the character is Clark Kent, but don't give me the origin again.
No, yeah.
You can sort of touch on it, but don't give me the whole origin. Like the whole story does not have to be about him becoming Superman.
Yeah, we get it.
We know how he becomes Superman. We've got about 6 movies to tell us how he becomes Superman. We fucking get it.
I want him to fight like a super badass villain and let it go deep.
Yes.
Some hardcore fight.
Yeah, but anyway, so that Superman that I already spoke about, that Superman, the Joker and the Joker sequel that they are planning.
Is that with what's his name?
Joaquin Phoenix, yes.
Okay.
Phoenix. Are supposed to be out of universe. So they're not part of the original DC universe. The Flash movie technically can and won't be because it's kind of hinted already that it's going to be multiversal.
Okay.
Which is exactly what we spoke about the last time. So some cool stuff coming from there. They also got a bunch of other characters. Peacemaker, Shazam 2, it needs to come out. Yes.
Okay.
Gotham PD, which I think is going to be good, but I think those are series. Static Shock, which was a cartoon character. It was a cartoon series when we were kids.
Yeah, so I'm like, even I know this. Like, okay.
Blue Beetle, Zatanna,
okay.
Green Lantern Corps.
I hope they do something great with Green Lantern.
Yeah, difficult.
Yeah.
The CGI is a problem in that. And
because it's all
the very synopsis or premise of the character is a problem. So the character of Green Lantern's power, they even say it's their power is rooted in their ability to imagine. The strength of their creations, because they create things with their
so the better the imagination.
It's based on their ability to imagine stuff.
Yeah.
Now
that's limitless.
Exactly. So how you understand that, but that's the problem.
Yeah,
there's no like if you're a writer or you're a creator, you're the person doing the movie. What is the coolest thing you can think of?
Yeah, and to who?
Like it's a classic having too much problem. So if you go up, if you imagine you could watch any movie or any TV series at any point in time in your any time.
Like it's
what if you're never going to watch one of anything because you're going to spend hours looking for something to watch and you're going to be undecided.
Jeez,
so I think that is a problem. So what I would think you need to do is you need to power down. You need to limit the character. Like you have to bring in rules that go, okay, cool. Yes, it's based on your imagination, but here are the rules to it. So the more ridiculous, the less powerful the creation. And then you have some sort of measurement of ridiculousness in terms of what is a you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so for example,
so complicated. Like
you can't create something that you have no notion of. So you can't create a car unless you have in-depth knowledge of what a car does.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just not going to work. You understand? You have to. If you bring in rules like that, and you confine the power down the character. Because if I'm the Green Lantern, you know what I would create every time I use my ring? A Superman.
Or 6 of them.
Or 6 of them.
Like, okay.
Why the fuck would you do anything else?
Like if it's just like the other guy doing, well, I'll do 7 Supermans. So, and it's like, well, to make it 8. No, yeah.
It makes you understand. So you have to.
Yeah,
listen. I'm not that knowledgeable of the comics, especially not Green Lantern comics. But I could ever remember there being something that precludes me from doing that.
I know, like when they did the movies initially, it was like, you know, he was getting stronger. But again, you're right. It was like based on his imagination. Yeah, I don't understand enough about it, but you know what I mean. Like the limits on that, being limitless, which sound great, is a problem.
Yes,
it's actually, shame.
Anyway, so
it's good.
DC fandom coming in October. I like these kinds of things. So excited to see what they do with that. Speaking of superhuman type characters, Invincible.
Yeah,
so it's been renewed for season 2 and 3.
Okay.
Yeah, You've not finished it yet,
I haven't finished it.
but you like.
I'm a show whore. I watch some, and
Not something you will show your kid.
No. Well, look.
Not now.
It's not. No.
Although he doesn't have the wherewithal to understand what he's watching, right?
Oh, good Lord! It's graphic. Like, I mean, the thing is, like, the first episode, not knowing up until the end. Man, what a family show! What a great, what a great show! Yeah. And then it just changes.
What do you?
Yeah.
Like, what have been your takeaways? What do you? Because you haven't been enamored by it. It hasn't caught your.
No, look, I've never really watched a comic book form of show. Like, to be very honest, so. I mean, when I saw it was like, okay, cool, let me give it a chance. In all honesty, it was just like, let me give it a chance.
Yeah.
And when I watched it, I'm like, I'm seriously watching a comic book right now. And that was why, like, the first episode was really...
It wasn't horrible. That's deliberate, because I think the idea behind it was to keep the animation close to what it was in the comic book. So that it's done by what's the next name? Who did The Walking Dead? Can I tell you now? Oh man. Oh, I can't remember the guy's name. Robert Kirkman.
Okay.
Yeah. So the animation part of it is like if you see the comics, it's almost identical.
Okay, no, and respectfully, like, again, it's not something that I would honestly not because I'm not interested. It's just
to be honest with you, so without giving too much away. So obviously it's about this superior race called the Ultrix or Ventrix or something.
Yeah, it's with a V.
That essentially they have an empire and they try to get planets to join the empire. So then this Omni-Man comes to Earth. He then integrates himself into humanity.
Every day.
Yes, as a kid. And the idea is for the kid to help him take over Earth and make Earth bow to the empire.
You wouldn't know that.
You don't know that.
You wouldn't know
that. He hides that through the whole series.
Yeah.
You only find out, I think it's episode 7. Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, definitely.
But the story is about, like, again, this is an origin story, so it's about how the character Invincible, Mark, goes about learning about his powers, learning who he is, trying to balance the superhero life with
like normal human
stuff. Yes, and going through relationships. It's very relatable. I would imagine it's very relatable for teenagers because it's got that Spider-Man element of being a human super. Yes. But it explores a couple of cool stories. It sets up a couple of stuff, like this one episode where he goes to Mars. He encounters a couple of beings there. He needs to go and save, because he goes with the Mars mission.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Mars mission, he saves them from these aliens. But these secondary aliens, like a pest, like a parasite race.
Okay.
That infested Mars. So the Martians are already fucking scared of this thing, or things. And then this parasite infects one of the astronauts. They don't know. So they've come back to Earth with that fucking thing, but they haven't explored it any further. So they set that up.
Okay, that's cool. Like that's probably what's coming next, kind of thing.
I
just want to also going to space. Like I really love this about it. It's that it's just like the way they explain like the simple things, like how they fly. Like when there's a moment like and he explains like how they fly. Yes. When he goes into space, it's like how do I breathe in there? It's like you want to breathe. You know, like it's the things like you kind of think that I really appreciate that. It's like
it's good. Actually, they keep well with that though.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy that.
So they then and then the story that runs concurrently with that is Omni-Man's story. So it starts off with him being the hero of Earth. He then slaughters the heroes of Earth, which is essentially this universe's Justice League, like
slaughters.
Like that's there's no other word.
Yeah, but like wow.
And at first you kind of and in the comics apparently they don't take this long to get to the point where it's like, nah, it wasn't. Like in the comics they don't even the Guardians of the Globe have no chance. They don't even make him bleed.
Oh,
Yeah, so
I kind of like that
series,
version.
the fact that they gave him a good fight, that was good.
Okay, fair. I like that he's like super bad.
But then throughout the story, you kind of at first like you don't know whether or not did something take him over? Is someone behind it? Was there some sort of brain supervillain that got control of his mind? And even at the end, where Mark and him kind of encounters one another, Mark kind of goes through that same thought process the audience originally did, where he's like, no, it can't be, something must be happening in the background here that we don't see or don't know of. But yeah, you find out that that's not the case. He's just an evil bastard that wants to take over Earth.
Heartless.
He goes through a couple of episodes. There was the episode about defending Earth from those alien invaders.
Yes. Where they aged so quickly.
Yes. That ends up Omni-Man going to that universe. And that's where you actually first see the evil part of him, where you think like this oak might have actually killed the Guardians of the Globe. Because he goes back
and just annihilates.
And then just
like annihilates.
Yes. that entire civilization. Yeah. So essentially that's basically, what you go through for those episodes. So depending on who you are watching it and from what point of view you are watching it, you may or may not enjoy it. There is probably a little bit of pacing issues, but the pacing is all in setup.
Mm-hmm.
And it does well in terms of driving the story, driving the story forward. And I think knowing a little bit about how it completely freaks out in the comics. Like there's some really awesome storylines that come in the comics. Okay. I think this is a good setup. So for first season, it had enough for me to go, yeah, that's good enough. But you're right, there are parts of it where I'm like, this is a bit.
Yeah.
It doesn't. You just kind of disappear from it. Like for 2 minutes, you're like, oh wait, I'm watching. Your mind wanders.
Yeah, it doesn't grab that attention.
Grab your attention. They might have actually missed the trick by. They should have shortened it. They should have only given us 6 episodes.
Yeah, I just did and get a bit more action or.
So what happens then is that eventually the mother figures out that Omni-Man killed the Guardians of the Globe.
Yeah.
Omni-Man goes and tells this to Mark. And he refuses to believe it at first. Then they go, then his dad eventually convinces him. Then his dad wants him to join. Omni-Man clearly doesn't give a shit. He even says, in the episode he says, he really doesn't. If it's lived 12,000 years, he doesn't really care for the mother. He pisses more.
And I was going to actually ask that, like, what is his actual?
So no, he gives 2 fucks.
What a guy.
Real champion. Someone you can really look up to.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so him and Mark get into this massive fight and then just...
It's smashed.
He just rips Mark a new one. But Mark, he's still supposed to grow in his powers.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, Omni-Man kind of is in this place where he sees what he's done to his son, he sees like what he's done to humanity, and he seems to be confused with what's going on, and he just fucks off.
Okay.
Yeah. But in the comics, he still comes back.
But
there's a lot of no kind of sort of there's bigger threats.
Okay.
So I think he comes back in defense of his son. But there's essentially a bunch of storylines that still need to. There's also that. The character's name's got the lion head, this hammer thing. So there's one episode where they try to take down this villain, this mechanical robot thing, and they end this robot gets contracts a bunch of killers, super villain killers, to come and fight the new Guardians of the Globe for these.
Oh yeah,
guys, yes.
Yeah.
And then they come up with this one battle. It's a battle beast. That's the thing's name.
Battle beast.
I'm sure it's
either way. Like that just sounds awesome.
He fucks up.
Oh, like
Mark. He puts him in a coma. So I thought when I saw the last episode, because Battle Beast's whole thing is he's seeking, or their entire race seeks out warriors that are as good as them.
Oh, okay.
So I thought he would rock up at the end.
And challenge, maybe like
Omni-Man, yes.
Yeah.
That would be a good challenge because Omni-Man fucks up Mark very much in the same way Battle Beast did.
Oh, jeez, okay.
So I would imagine
But does Mark just get beat up by everyone?
That's another thing. So he's this superpowered being, and he gets his ass whipped pretty often. Which, in the one hand, is cool because
there's realism to it. Like,
yes, because then it's like, okay, cool. He's still learning his powers. He's not as powerful as he can be yet. His dad even says that because his dad can. I'm sure his dad can shoot lasers out of his eyes and Mark can't yet. So he's still learning his powers.
And growing into his strength, kind of thing.
I think what's frustrating is that in the series or in the season, we never see him get to the point where he's that powerful.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much. This turned out to be an invincible review. It wasn't intended to be.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. Yeah, good series. So excited for season 2 and 3. We'll see. The thing is, it's an animation, so I'd imagine we can get it pretty soon because there's no real production delays and shit like that.
Watch all the animation people out there, like you have no idea how much work goes into this.
All of those animation people that listen to my podcast, of course. Then just real quick off the top before we get into Shadow and Bone and Jupiter's Legacy, spoke a little bit about the Joker sequel. Cool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
The Meg 2 is confirmed.
The Meg 2?
Yes, you know the Meg for the big shark? Myself and Z watched that at home and that was laughable more than anything else. But
that's like, why?
Cool. I don't know, a while back they made an announcement that we're going to get a new Masters of the Universe movie.
That'd be great.
Yeah. But the person that they cast as He-Man, Noah Centineo, has left. So they need to get themselves a new He-Man. But he was this what's the guy from High School Musical? Zac Efron, not Zac Efron. The other guy. It's not Zac, it is Zac Efron.
It is Zac Efron, yeah.
So, but in his High School Musical days, this Noah Centineo looks like that. So it's not really like the big He-Man size.
Could be, kind of thing.
So whether or not that's a good or bad thing, I don't know.
Almost like I'm not really now too upset about that, but that's fine.
So the problem with these things where they do popular culture remakes, stuff like He-Man, in Mortal Kombat, stuff like that. The Mortal Kombat movie, for example, was a first-time writer and director.
Oh.
Which, if you put that into comparison to the movie itself, you're like, actually, you know what? Yeah,
fine.
That I can see why that would be.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas, if you want to make stuff like that successful, like He-Man, for example, then you need to use the right creators for it. Like Marvel have this. Knack, probably Kevin Feige more than anything else, where firstly they cast proper.
Yeah, to match.
Even though they don't necessarily cast famous characters, they cast, they've got they've got fantastic casting choices. I mean, no one knew who Chris Hemsworth was prior to Thor. They knew, but they very little.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.'s career was in the dumps. He was playing in Ally McBeal on a TV series before Iron Man. And Chris Evans was the guy from another teen movie. He plays the jock. And movies like Cellular, where the main character is on the phone to a hostage.
I remember that.
And he also was he like not in? I'm sure he was in the. Yeah. Anyway. But they still cast well.
Yeah, it was.
Then they make a great movie. So, for example, Iron Man is a hero's journey movie. Before it is a comic book movie, it's about a person finding retribution and struggling through his new ways.
Yeah, for example. Like what he stands for and everything.
Yeah. The Captain America movie. It was a little bit campy, the first one, but it was well done.
I still loved it. Like,
very good. But the second one was a great spy thriller. Thor, the first Thor movie was a fantastic fantasy movie. It was a good fantasy movie first. And then after doing a great story, then they put the superhero elements into it. You understand? So
that's a valid point. Yeah.
So what happens with the pop culture stuff is none of that happens. So it's either, well, it's almost never that they choose great actors, great creators, great writers for these movies, because I suppose they feel like that's not content that they want to put out.
Yeah, I think it is
you choose first-time creators and first-time actors and stuff like that, and then you just don't put out a good movie.
Yeah, that's
like Masters of the Universe. Like the only thing I can think of is do a Masters of the Universe movie, get the right characters. It doesn't have to be super famous, just make sure that the cast right. Get good creators to do it. And then, for example, Masters of the Universe can only have one song. They'll obviously have the remake of the original theme, but how can you not do Queen's Princess of the Universe?
Yeah, if it doesn't go down that way.
Here we are, born to be kings, we're the princes of the universe. How can you not have that song in that movie? They're not going to do it because I don't know. Because they fucking.
No way, they said they're not doing that.
No, they're not going to do that. Why would they do that?
Why would they not do that?
I know. That is the question.
Like that doesn't make sense. No, but the next. Okay. Then
anyway,
I've lost place.
So yeah, that's He-Man. So that's basically news. We did the entire pod almost just on.
Caught you guys up.
Yeah. So I think what we're going to do, we were going to do a more in-depth review of Shadow and Bone and Jupiter's Legacy, but I think what we'll do is we'll just do a
brief.
Yeah, just a brief checking.
Okay.
So maybe we should leave Shadow and Bone for later.
Shadow and Bone's still fairly new.
Yeah, it's fairly. Well, I mean, it's Netflix, so all 8 episodes got dropped.
Yeah.
But listen, if you're listening to this, go and watch it. It's a pretty good. It's a pretty good series. It's essentially about these two counter or opposite characters from opposite sides of what is called, I think, the Fold.
It's the Fold, yeah.
And one is darkness, one is light. At first, the character, it's an orphan. She lives in a world where there are certain different races. So one race has the ability to subjugate or to possess certain powers.
Yeah, magic.
And yes, and then they are split into certain classes. So you'll have magic. You'll have telepathy, people that can control your heart.
Okay.
Stuff like that. They've got
elements
of magic. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's a lot of fantasy elements in it. For example, some characters have the ability to be immortal because they draw from other beings or from other magic. Yeah. Some characters can be more powerful if they draw from the power of certain fantastic beasts. Like there's this elk or deer. There's a couple of others. So essentially the story comes down to a couple of 100 years ago there was this king. This king, wanted to dominate the world or wanted to conquer. He got one of these magicians, which they refer to as the Black Heretic. I can't remember what they call the race now. But anyway, he gets this guy to help him win these wars with their magic. And he became the advisor to the king. Essentially, the king then gets to conquer the world, but then in fear of this mage taking over, the king hunted the mage. So initially, they tell the story about how the mage then tried to use some of those fantastical beasts to create his own army. And as a result of using that type of magic, which he didn't fully understand and fully have control over, he then created the Fold.
So wow.
But then you find out he created the Fold whilst there were people
Inside.
around the area, and the things in the fold that attack you is actually the women, men, and children that got turned into those beasts.
Oh, what a great... Oh,
Yes.
okay.
And then the rumor is, or the legend goes, that this mage died in the fold.
Also, you think...
Yes. So then a couple of hundred years later, you have these two orphans that lost their parents in that exact event. And then you find out that this one orphan actually has the power of light. So it starts off with showing us that these two kids in the orphanage and how close they are, and then time jumps to the future where they're in the army. She is a I don't remember what she is, but they've got different divisions.
Yeah,
he's a scout.
She's a writer, a scripter or something.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, she draws the maps and stuff.
Maps, yeah, what's that?
Yes.
But yeah, that's
yes. So they go onto this mission through the fold, and then in this they find out, actually she's got the power of light, so she has the ability to destroy the darkness, to destroy those things that attack them. The reason why they didn't know is that when they're kids, they get tests done, and the way the test works, in that instant, in the moment of pain, the test will show you whether or not this person is or isn't that race. Can't remember the name now, but it will only work if you're not currently in pain. So if you currently have an injury, the test won't work. It will give you a double negative. So she then she holds a piece of broken cup in her hand, cutting herself. So she's in pain while they're giving the test. So the test comes back that she's not this species. I can't remember.
Oh, because this is great, because the thing is, I thought like she hid with they hid when they were supposed to do the test.
That's the first, yes, that's the first
one. So there was another one?
Yes.
Oh,
I think it happens every year or something, yes.
Yeah.
So let me just see.
Oh, so she does know. This is great.
Races. Let me just see what the... Oh, it's the Ravka, the Fjerde, but they're not Ravka though. Ravka is the area. Grisha, that's it.
Grisha!
Yes. So the Grisha are people with the ability to manipulate the elements to use as weapons. Call fire, summon wind, regulate the hearts. Okay, cool. So they do a test to determine whether or not you're a Grisha or not, and the rest of the world kind of use Grisha as weapons.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they then end up going through the fold where they meet this prince. Now, this prince turns out to be the evil one, which is the dark prince with the shadow powers that closely resemble the wall or the fold.
What a surprise.
And he's the good guy working with the king. But anyway, they get to him. He then says, no, he's a good guy, he works for the king. They then ask, the orphan, this girl asks him, but how is this possible? And he says, no, it's an ancestor, and he works really hard to, he's not, doesn't want that, and he wants to fight, the evils in it, and she now has they call her the sun bringer or something, so she can now, she's the answer to this. They can bring down the fold, whatever, but they can only do it together. Then they go through this whole thing where now she's still trying to learn the powers, and they then go through this whole thing where she needs to, display the powers to different parts of the world or different rulers of the world and stuff like that. And she gets trained by this old sage lady, or this old witch. So she then starts to learn how to use the powers, and she then learns about all these different types of animals that can it's like an extra
influence kind of thing.
They can power you up. They can increase your power.
Okay.
Like the deer with the weird antlers.
Okay.
At first,
like
she can only use her power when she's touching him.
Okay.
So it works the same way with these deers and stuff.
I was just saying the deer is a good lightning conductor.
Yes, with the antlers. So she learns all of this stuff. Then she kind of gets into a romantic involvement with this general, with the dark powers.
Oh, okay.
And the whole story is that he's supposed to be the
isn't he like protector?
The descendant of the person that created the fault.
Ah,
And they also give you a little bit of backstory of the law. So way back there was this mage or this wizard or whatever you want to call him, who then figured out that he created these fantastic beasts to help him manage his power or to help him give him power and stuff like that.
okay.
So this dark mage that served the king that created the fault wanted to do the same. He also wanted to create those.
Okay.
But in doing so, he did it wrong. And instead of creating his own army, his own magical elements, his own magical beings, he created the fault.
Okay, which is against everything. Then.
Yes. So the dark ones or the darklings are directly descendants of the original person. So because they're descendants of him, they thought, okay, cool, if he could do it, they can do it. Or the oak that did it thought that because his ancestor was able to, he would be able to. But then it went wrong. Anyway, so the darkling, the general, he's a descendant of that entire line. That's what they tell me. So then him and the orphan chickie get romantically involved. She, gets trained by this witch lady, and then whilst all of this is happening, the scouts they're fighting a war against what's the
another clan kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a part of the Ravka, which is their nation. They want to break off and do their own thing. So they're part of that war doing scouts, and then they get this instruction that the general, the Darkling, is looking for this deer with these antlers.
Okay.
But that the picture that they get is the drawing of the orphan chickie, and the orphan guy, who's now a scout, recognizes the drawing.
Okay.
And they've been writing letters to one another, but there's people preventing her letters from getting to him, and his letters getting to her.
So it's okay.
Yeah. So they don't realize that the letters aren't getting to one another.
So they pretty much think they've forgotten.
Well, they know. They're not getting letters, but they don't know whether or not their letters are getting to them.
Yeah, they just think they're not replying, kind of thing. Like, yeah.
So he then chases after this deer, the scout. He finds the deer.
Okay.
But the general is looking for the deer.
Yeah.
The scout knows that the chickie is by the general at the place called the Little Palace. So he then, when he found the deer, which was a big mission, he lost a couple of friends and stuff like that.
What a guy.
He then goes like, okay, cool, he needs to go. He then informs everyone he needs to inform, and he wiggles his way in delivering the news person. So he doesn't tell anyone where exactly to find the deer. Because he wants to go and tell the general so he can see her.
Oh, he goes like a setup kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's this whole thing. She then, during this ball where she presents her powers and shows, all the leaders of the nation, all the world, how those powers work, he's also there, trying to speak to her. He tells the general that he found a deer north of wherever, but he's not giving him the exact location. In the meantime, the witch that trained the chickie finds out that the scout is there to tell them about
the deer. Yeah.
Then this whole story fucks up completely. Then you find out the old witch is the Darkling General's mother.
Oh, goodness.
She then grabs this chickie. Well, whilst all of this is happening, there's 3 other characters that are trying to kidnap the chick to take her home. Just a side story. Anyway, okay. So then the Darkling, the Darkling's mother, you find out, no, the person that created the fault is the fucking general. He's one of the people that is eternal.
He just lives forever like that.
Yes, he just changed his name to a noble. So he is the person that created the fault. The problem is he can't control it. So he doesn't want to close it down. He wants to use the deer to give him greater power.
To control it,
because then he can move it. If he wants to take over a country or a nation, he just moves the fault over to them.
This is great. Yeah.
Or you can protect the border or cut you off, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, force you to go around.
So he needs the deer, but he also needs her. So he needs to infuse the deer with her, and then infuse her with him, so he can control her, to use the power of the deer to move this fucking fault.
Jeez, okay.
So he then, so you kind of as the viewer, you know this, but not all the characters are quite up to speed. So then in the next couple of episodes, it's about running away from this fucking oak, And then all the characters kind of coming together with one another to kind of explain what's happening, how it's happening, and whatever the catch might be.
Great. Yeah.
So the people that end up, that wanted to kidnap her at first end up becoming a traveling party.
Okay.
Right? And at the end of it all, they kind of use their relationship with her to get what they want instead of giving her up to get payment.
The main mission kind of thing.
Yes. Because in this universe, she's seen as a saint. So she's seen as a savior, godlike almost. Because the moment she displays her power, everyone bows down.
Yeah, she's the savior that they've been waiting for kind of thing.
So then, in order to defeat the general, this chickie, the orphan chickie and the orphan kid guy, the scout, realize that they have to go and get the deer. She needs to. So the notion is that whoever kills the deer can use the power, because then you infuse the bones with you, or you wear the bones or whatever, and then that supplements your power.
Okay.
So they go after the deer. The general goes after them. Obviously, before they get the opportunity to kill the deer, just before the general shows up, right? But just before the general shows up, you can see there's some sort of connection between her and the deer. So already you're like, oh, okay, something else is happening here.
Oh, ooh.
So instead of her killing the deer, the Darkling general kills the deer.
So.
Then they take the bone, infuse her with the bone.
Okay.
Of the antlers.
Okay.
Like the antlers go here into a front chest, like they'll almost stick out and stuff. And then they do this little thing where they fuse him with her. So he essentially controls her light powers.
Okay.
Yes. Then they go back into the fold. So now all the characters are together. So the people that tried to kidnap her, stowed away on the sticks, like the ship thing they travel with. The scout is kept captive, almost killed a couple of times, and so now they're essentially on the ship to now go and control this thing and take over the world.
Okay.
They get into a fight. There's one character that can do this shooting thing. He's pretty accurate with the gun, so he shoots out the coin thingy out of this oak's hand.
Yes. Okay.
Which relinquishes control from the light summoner. She then finishes the infusion with the bone and breaks the spell, or breaks the
link.
The link.
Yeah.
And then after the thing is shot out of his hand, he's like, yeah, but you can't use the power now because you're not the one that killed the deer. And he's just like, well, that's not actually how it works. You don't have to kill the deer in order to summon the power from it. The deer chooses.
That's a surprise.
Yes. They end up defeating this oak. He survives an attack from all these things inside of the fold. He walks out at the end of the episode. And they go about their business of, okay, they need to go and protect people, and they're going to try and figure out to bring down the fold. And that's how the series ends.
Okay, so season 2 coming kind of thing? Okay.
Yeah. So the first 3 episodes of this is really hard to watch. I didn't enjoy it, but when kind of just before you find out that actually no, this oak's the baddie, which is not a bigger surprise.
His name
again is the Dark Prince. Like when that happens, like I think in episode 4, that's when you kind of go, oh wait, hang on, because then it builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up. And then up until the ending was I didn't think the ending was great. So, but yeah, overall pretty good series to watch. If you can get through the first 3 episodes, then you'll enjoy it.
I got into the second episode and I was invested. There's some interesting characters. Like I want to like there are pieces that got me interested already in the second episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually only got to the 4th episode. I think it's about to get very interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. I think if you already liked it, then you're going to enjoy it now.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Sounded good.
Cool. Yeah. Anything else on what you call it?
Shadow and Bone.
Yes.
No, that's a freaking great.
This would have been a far shorter podcast if we done this, because half of this stuff, it's almost 2 hours already, and we still got
good hours.
Yes, yeah. That's true. Okay. Next up, Although this is not going to be, the previous one was about 2 hours and 40 minutes, wasn't it?
I think 2 hours 20 minutes was around that mark.
Yeah, we're gonna be longer than that. Anyway, so then the other one on Netflix is obviously Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't spoil this one. Just thinking for the conscious of time. So Jupiter's Legacy essentially
It's like an idea of what it is.
So it's Mark Miller, responsible for Millerworld. So it's Kick-Ass, Kingsman. He also did Wanted. So he's known for either doing movies and then creating comic books, or doing comic books and creating movies. He's also been involved in a lot of comic books. So he was involved with Superman Red Dawn, which is the story about if Superman had to land in Russia, what would happen.
Okay.
He also did a bunch of stuff for Marvel, the Ultimate Universe. So good comic superhero creator. So his his house, his comic house, whatever you want to call it, called Millerworld, was bought over by Netflix last year. So I would imagine the majority of his content will go to Netflix.
Okay, that's good.
I.e. Jupiter's Legacy, and there's a bunch of other stuff they're also going to do. I don't know what they're going to do with it, because Kingsman was it would have gone into production before he got bought over, but the next Kingsman movie, which was also supposed to come out years ago, got delayed.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see whether or not that gets a dual release, but I don't think so. I think that will still go to cinemas first, but then it will end up in Netflix anyway. But anyway, so he's got the comic book called Jupiter's Legacy, and then there's the spin-off comic called Jupiter's Circle. So essentially, it's about this family that loses everything. Well, not family. It's about this guy and his brother. They have this steel business with their dad. The stock market crashes, and you find out, in the comic books, even they lose everything, right? So they end up losing everything. The one brother tries to save the business, the other brother loses his mind. And through losing his mind, he then tries to pursue the dreams he's having.
Visions, dreams kind of thing, yeah.
These dreams then lead him to a farm with a weird interaction with this farmer.
That's Red from that 70s show.
Yes.
How did he grow hair?
Okay. So he then gives you a brief little explanation, and essentially it comes down to him ending up in a cellar, and in the cellar you can see the farmer's dead family.
Yeah.
But this kind of seems to have been set up so that when he got there, what he saw was not a dead family. He saw a bunch of people around the table. So he saw himself, he saw his brother, he saw a reporter he met earlier, he saw his friend, and he saw a random person that they didn't know.
Not yet, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like I said, they lost everything. After his dad passed away, committed suicide, he had a reporter did a story on him about, him putting all of the workers' pension fund in the in the stock market crashed, so all the workers lost their pension fund. One of the workers actually at the mill that they were working at, he's also on the table.
Okay.
Yeah. They then and then in the cellar they see coordinates. So he then comes back after seeing all of that, and he tells his brother, "No, you can't do fucking." Because obviously his brother thinks he's sick and crazy,
mental, and yeah.
So they go home. His friend then sees the drawings he's been drawing, because he's also been drawing weird as stuff. And then he figures out, no, but this is, he doesn't know why, but unintentionally he drew this weird mill, and these pictures are too coincidental to be nothing. And it basically ends up, they're figuring out that, oh no, the coordinates, and this is a mad kind of thing, they need to go to the coordinates. They find out that, the best friend and him figure out that the coordinates are in the middle of the ocean on this island. The Oak, the main character called Sheldon, you find out that his dreams actually, he does see the island. They then go onto this voyage. They get everyone to be on the ship. Because he then figures out, no, everyone that was around the table needs to be on the ship. So they then go and try and get everyone on the ship. and then go to this island. They have some trouble getting to it, but essentially they get to the
I
island.
end up there, yeah.
Now, when they're on this island, they then go through. They figure out that the island's kind of forcing them to a point, like they can't turn back. And when they try to go back, they can't.
Okay, so.
They somehow end up in these caves, and then when they touch the walls of the cave, it lights up with these symbols that he was drawing.
Okay.
And then there's a little bit of this thing about the characters having to be in some sort of simpatico. So the brother and the friend didn't see eye to eye, so they had to resolve that first. The brother and the brother didn't see, when on the same page of something. So they kind of had to get to that. So they internally had to come across that. And then once they did, when they touch, everyone's hands and stuff lit up.
Okay.
And then this portal gate thing opens up, which the Jupiter shows. It looks like it's on Jupiter's moon. So they walk through this gate, and you can see stars and stuff, and they're clearly in outer space.
Okay.
And there's this godlike being. It's not a face or person. It's like the shape with all of these weird forms and stuff. It looks like a piece of art with light shining out of it. But then I think it's Jupiter that you see on your left. So I'm assuming you're on a moon, one of the moons. Then when they approach this deity or this thing, the deity projects a loved one back to them, talking about they've been through a lot, they've shown great courage, they've shown that they are worthy and stuff like that. So for the two brothers, it's their dad. For the reporter, it's her ex-husband that died in the war. For the best friend, it's his mother. For the worker from the mill, it's his grandmother. And then on their way to the caves, they actually found this oak from a sunken ship, and that was the other guy that they saw on the table.
Oh, that was supposed to be there. Like, okay, yeah.
Anyway, so after they see this, there's this big explosion, and you can clearly see what I would suppose is a radioactive wave, going across the waters in the world and whatever.
Okay.
So just when they went on the voyage, just before they started the voyage, when they were speaking to the captain of the boat, the oak that was going crazy was saying, it has to be this captain. So when the explosion happened, there were these gold lines in the shape of the drawings going across the captain's face.
Okay.
So I'm assuming he got powers. They don't tell you when, but I'm assuming he eventually got powers. And I think that's the same thing that happened. So, I'll get to that point just now. So this explosion happens, right? Island gone. Captain's like, no, we're fucking getting out. Out. But on their way there, it's only storms, and it's ship goes weird, and it's dark, and whatever the case may be. The next explosion happened, then it's lighting. No more island, water is calm, no storm, no nothing.
Okay, interesting.
Then the 6 of them come down, and they come through the light, and they're superheroes. So again, all of them can fly, all of them super strong, all of them have super speed, and then each of them have a power beyond that.
Yeah.
So, for example, Brainwave is a telepath, very powerful telepath. Skyfox is a technopath, so he can create and do things with technology. I can't remember the worker. He's got some sort of power where he can heal, I guess, or I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what it is he can do, but he can create matter, like tissue. Their powers are very loosely defined. It's not explained exactly what their powers are.
Yeah, there could be more, it could be less.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So that's kind of the backstory. But that story gets told through the 8 episodes. Like it doesn't get told off the bat. Like each episode gives you a little bit. And it runs concurrently with the current day story. So the current day, these 6 used to have a Justice League type society called the Union of Justice. And they live by this code where they don't interfere with government, politics, economics, or anything like that. And they don't kill. Referred to as the code. And for the most part, they were able to live by this code. And very early on, they kind of give this brief explanation as to the reason why they're not the Union of Justice anymore, why they're not those 6 specifically anymore, is that at some point, Skyfox, which is the friend, turned on them, kidnapped the president or something, and a battle, I'm assuming, ensued because the worker got hurt, got half his face blown off.
Yeah, I don't
his
think
face got
he's in
blown.
a wheelchair.
Yes.
So like, must be, yeah.
But anyway, so then you kind of get a kind of a backstory there. But anyway, Skyfox is painted as the bad guy.
Okay.
Then in the modern day, it's about obviously these 6 heroes, but these 6 heroes of age, it's about 100 years later. The 6 heroes of age quite significantly, not too bad, but they've aged. And then how they trying to raise their kids to be superheroes and to live up to
same standards.
Yes, and their code and live by their code and stuff like that. So that's it's pretty well done in how they struggle, because the daughter's a druggie. The son has struggles to
like an approval kind of thing.
Yes, he's really not a great. He tries, he keeps on trying, but he seems to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's
very introverted, and then the sister's a complete fucking mess.
Yeah, jeez.
So then the modern day story is about they put this bad guy in prison. This bad guy, let me just check what that guy's name is. So this bad guy, someone made a copy of him, and the copy turns up, and they try to stop him. So they obviously it's the six main heroes, but with time you find out that there's been supervillains, and there've been other heroes, and there's other people with powers. It's not everyone, but there are people with powers. So what I'm thinking, they don't say this, but what I'm thinking is when the island exploded, that radioactive or that wave, when it went over the world, it affected everyone, and those that had some sort of innate thing in them that got awakened.
Yeah, maybe passed on to the next generation.
Yes. Let me see. Black Star. What's his name? So Black Star gets copied, and his copy goes and fucking.
He's powerful.
Yes, he just. The heroes try to stop him, and the newer heroes try to stop them, and then 2 of the heroes just get slaughtered.
Yeah.
And they can't get this thing dead. He's standing on the dad, the mother's passed out, he's starting to go nuclear, so it looks like he's gonna fucking wipe out everyone. And then the son, who struggles with approval, kills him.
Yeah.
Dad's very upset because it's like, we don't kill, wada. Now there's double standards, and he tries to keep his son away from the public eye, because how do they explain it to the public? So there's this element where it's about, in the old way that superhero stories got told, is that the villain and the hero never die.
Yeah, they always just beat each other up.
No one kills the Joker that gets arrested. No one kills the villains never get killed.
Yeah.
So it's very much in that mode.
Yeah, that conflict almost like.
But now it's about, but you can't. That's not how the world works. That's not what
people want.
Killed. But now villains were starting to kill heroes left, right, and center. So the kids that are already going through so much trauma, their friends are getting killed. So it's about protecting people versus not killing villains. So even at the end where the actual Black Star has, because the actual Black Star, at first they think Black Star escaped the Supermax prison. Then they fight him, they kill him. Then they realize, the actual Black Star still in
the whole time. Yeah.
So the whole time they're thinking that Shadow Fox, the friend, copied this Black Star. This other Black Star then figures out that, they killed this fucker. So if I can do something where I'm able to put him in that position, Utopia, because Utopia lives by the code.
Yeah, you're right.
He just lives by the code. He doesn't kill. He lives vicariously through that code. The original Black Star is like, if I can get him in a position where he needs to choose, I can destroy him from the inside. So, I'll get to that just now. So there's this whole thing about the code and not killing whatever. On top of that is, there's this dynamic between the 2 brothers, so Brainwave and stuff like that. And then they keep touching on the friend, his past. And as the story goes on, you find out, okay, everyone's got kids. Most of the kids have superpowers. Shadow Fox is a kid. There's the sixth character, the guy that they find in the ocean, called Blue Bolt. He has a staff that can transport him anywhere.
Oh, so that's who he is.
Yes.
Okay.
But in the comics, Sky Fox has a son.
Mm-hmm.
His son's favorite hero from the original six was Blue Bolt.
Okay.
So Sky Fox creates a staff like that because it's a technopath. So he creates the same sort of staff, but doesn't give it to the kid immediately, gives it to the mother and says, okay, you can't have this until you're old enough.
Mm-hmm.
The kid grows up with no powers, then gets the staff, and that's the Hutch character.
That's brilliant.
So the Hutch character is this thief that kind of plays the low game.
Yeah, he's just like in the background. Like...
He's obviously got a lot of power in terms of what he can do with that thing because he fucking just...
Oh, it's insane.
He plays, he plays the fool. So he works for people, tries to steal stuff for them, makes money that way. He's a con artist.
Yeah.
A con artist / thief. He gets into some sort of trouble with this mob boss, who's this nuclear guy who can just melt people's heads.
Yeah.
And then to the point where he gets backed into a corner,
and he reacts.
and he has to now do something about it, and he just transports this rod thing into the oak's heart. So
awesome.
you kind of realize then, okay, so this oak is actually just...
He's pretty badass.
Yeah, yes. He also has a crew and stuff like that. And on one job, they, by accident, drive into...
Utopia's daughter.
Yeah. So she was fucked out of her mind with drugs. She ends up snorting the stuff they stole in the first place.
Yeah, she is messed up.
But then her and this Hutch character end up in a relationship.
Okay, yeah.
And her mother knows, but her dad doesn't know. But her dad knows who he is. He knows he's Sky Fox's father. Oh, sorry, he's Sky Fox's son.
He's his father, yeah.
So anyway, then they try now to figure out who created the copy, whatever the case may be. So first they do an operation. When they do the operation, they find this weird puzzle thing inside of him, and in the puzzle is Utopia's dad's watch.
Okay.
Utopia's dad's watch is significant because when he was going through his crazy phase, he had to go and fetch his dad's watch out of the coffin. And it stopped at a specific time and cracked. So it was significant in that way. So when they took it out of Black Star's body, this little puzzle thing that opened up with this pocket watch, it was identical to the one that he had. So it was confusing because I didn't know, is this from another universe? What's happening? But they thought, because the Sky Fox guy, he loved puzzles and stuff like that, they thought this was his MO. Then they realize, okay, no, the only way that they're going to figure out what's going on is they need to get into the dead Black Star's mind. But they have to recreate the mind first, so they get the worker guy to recreate the mind.
Heal,
And then Black Star, Brainwave is going to go into his head, and then Brainwave's daughter, which they later found out is also bad, he's actually a villain. She keeps the gate to the mind open because he's dead. But if the mind collapses, the recreated mind collapses, Brainwave will be stuck inside of him.
Oh, yeah.
So he goes in there. Here's the thing where it gets a little bit of shaky for me. So he gets in there. He finds Sky Fox, right? And they get into this fight. He defeats Sky Fox. But as they're doing that, he's going into a seizure in real life. As he's going into a seizure in real life, the mother, Lady Liberty is what she's called.
Liberty, yeah.
She then also goes into the mind.
Okay.
They then defeat Sky Fox, and they get out.
Okay.
So she goes into because they just transfer mind to mind. I'm assuming Brainwave's daughter helped to do that.
Okay.
In the meantime, whilst that was happening, Utopia and Paragon, Utopia's son, had to go and fight the real Black Star who escaped from prison. So just before he escaped and just before Brainwave went into the copy Black Star's mind, Brainwave went to go and see the original Black Star. Just have a conversation and then he goes off. But then his door just opens. Blackstone.
Oh, like a jail cell, yeah.
He gets out, he fights Paragon. He then has Paragon by the neck. So remember I said that he figured out that he needs to give Utopia a choice. So he tells the Utopian in the neck, or the kid gets it. So Utopia has to go, my code of not killing, there's always another way, on my son.
Mm.
Because he knows Blackstar will kill him. And as he lines up to shoot Blackstar and break his own code, one of the other heroes show up. One of the younger heroes. Stoke in the back of the head. They end up defeating Blackstar. Him, the son, and the other hero. And he then tells the son he was going to do it. He was going to kill him. He was not going to let him kill him.
Okay, happy with that. Yeah, good.
So he was going to break the code. So already, like at the end of it, this happens right at the end. So you kind of get this feeling of, okay.
Things are changing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the guy's probably going to be a little bit more malleable. Even though him and his son aren't really, they're not on the best of terms.
Yeah.
But then you find out that everything's been a setup. So Brainwave's daughter figured out, they don't say how, that he's actually behind all of it.
What?
So
oh man, what?
He's been spoilers. So he created the copy. He created the puzzle thing to mess with the Utopian. And the idea was to get the Utopian to stick to his code so much that his son and his daughter get alienated from him.
Oh, so he's singled out, like he's alone.
Yes, because the Utopian never wanted to get involved with politics or rule the world or anything like that. He just wanted to be a hero and make sure that the supervillains and people are protected and stuff like that. Which is why they never got involved with World War II or whatever the case would be.
Mm.
His brother, when they come back from the island and they have these powers, just they're still new in the thing. His brother keeps joking that we can just take over the world, stuff like that. He makes these jokes.
Yeah.
Meantime, that's actually what he wants.
It's truth. Yeah.
So you know how there's that conspiracy theory about there being a cabal or whatever ruling the rulers of the world. Like they're this secret society that rule the world.
Okay.
They have oversight of everything all the countries do. So essentially, that's what Brainwave wants. He wants the world to operate just as is, but he wants to be able to tell the American president what is he supposed to do. You understand? He wants to control the world, but he needs obviously soldiers and shit to do that. So in order to alienate Utopia from his family and from his son especially, because they keep hinting that the son is going to be more powerful than Utopia eventually, he then did this whole thing. So that the code becomes null and void and his son kind of becomes alienated towards his father.
That makes sense, yeah.
And that's how it ends.
Oh.
So to be fair to the story, character and costume design great. The story surprised me because it's a superhero series that doesn't have a lot of superheroing in it.
Yeah,
it's family drama. It's intrigue. There's it kind of makes you think of an office drama where people are trying to vie for power, like who gets to rule the office. So it gives me, it's very driven in that way. Like the fight scenes in it's not great, although it doesn't look shitty, but it's not well choreographed. It's not.
No, I figured that. It's
very campy in the way that they want to punch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it looks good in terms of graphics. But it's a lot more character driven than what you would expect, and it's not a fast burn. It takes a very long time to get to the point.
Yeah. Not a bad thing, but
and very set up of. So it's very it sets up what's to come, because if you know the comics, spoilers for the comics and for the future series here, because I'm going to speculate now. In the comics, Brainwave and the Sun kill Utopian and Lady Liberty. Hutch and the daughter who's fucking messed up tries and hides from these fucking mad people who then eventually take over the world. They then have a son, I think, or kid in hiding, but the kid's super, super powerful. And then it ends up them having to fight Brainwave and Paragon. They end up winning, and she and Hutch become the Utopia, Skyfox and Lady Liberty, and the son becomes the Utopia.
Utopia, yeah.
That will obviously happen only in season 3 if they get that far. Because again, it's a slow burn, so whether or not people will definitely start watching this, whether or not they will finish it, I don't know. They don't have a great critics score on Rotten Tomatoes, so yeah, that's essentially Jupiter's Legacy. What are you? I obviously spoiled it for you now, but
surprise. I struggled to get into it a little bit. Just again, it's very like family drama kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's not a bad thing per se, but I guess like that just.
It's not what you expect.
That's it. I'm thinking a superhero kind of series. Where's the action? Where's the fighting? There is portions of that, don't get me wrong, but that's not the best part of it. But yeah, I think the characters are interesting. Like, once moments happen, it really grabs your attention. Like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know his name yet because they haven't gone into that, but I think it's Hutch then. Like, not knowing, thinking like he's a coward, he's this little background little rat. And all of a sudden, he's like, well, you mess with me, I'll show you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's like those moments you kind of like, oh, okay, let's see what happens next.
Interesting to see what they do if they do get a second season. There's 20% in me that goes, this might not get a second season.
Nice.
Because again, I don't doubt that people will start watching it. I just don't know how many people will actually finish watching it.
Yeah, might love it.
Fizzles out a little bit.
Yeah, look at it, again, to get to that point.
To be fair, I binged it.
Okay.
So maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's what makes it difficult to watch. Maybe it's not, because to be fair, it's not something you should watch all the episodes at once. It's too much.
Oh, okay.
It's too much of a slow burn. Then again, if you watch it over a long period of time, it might feel even worse.
But maybe you lose that trail of interest kind of thing. Look, again, I think what you're telling me, what happens later on, it's a really good story. It's got a really good bit to it. It's just how long does it take to get to that?
You're right. It's good. The only I might have missed. I don't know if I did. Just the whole part of him going into Black Star's mind to go and fight Skyfox. Because it's clear by the end that he set up Skyfox. Right? So you don't know whether or not this is what happened before in the past because they don't show anything about it. And if Brainwave had something to do with Skyfox turning on Skyfox, and if he kind of played that whole... Because it could be possible that Skyfox at that time had already figured out that he was...
The bad guy. Yeah, because they always had that. I mean, they always had that.
They had animosity between one another. So there's that whole thing, which I think they'll probably explore in the second season if they get the chance.
And I like a good backstory. I really.
Yeah, no, that was good. But the part that bothered me was he goes into Black Star's mind. He then Lady Liberty shows up obviously in the mind as well.
How?
And at the end he speaks about how he's going to try and divide because he kills his own daughter.
Oh.
So he figured out that she figured out that he was behind it all. And they have this conversation, and he tried to get her on his side. She declined. She refuses. He then kills her. But in that conversation, he talks about the plan. He's going to try and split up the father and son. And that Lady Liberty showing up fucked up a little bit the plan, but he was able to get out. He was able to sort it out anyway.
Okay.
So I don't know why that was such an important part. Why did he need to go? I don't understand that part. Why did he have to go into? If you want to sell it, why did he need to go alone into to copy Black Star's mind to go and fight Skyfox? Was it just for show? You understand what?
Yeah.
If he's behind it all, why did he need to go and do that?
No, yeah, okay.
You understand?
Look, is that something that's going to be explained maybe later?
Unless he created, unless I misunderstood, and he created the whole Skyfox thing in the mind so that Lady Liberty shows up.
Maybe she was supposed to get like stuck in there or something. Or
no, maybe she's supposed to see it's Skyfox, so to sell the fact that Skyfox is behind it. So there was some of that didn't make 100% sense to me. Listen, I think this scored 6.9 on one of the rating systems.
Okay.
Which I agree with. Like that would be my like. I'll give you an example, right? If you binge anything, and that's only 8 episodes, it's not a long series to binge. If you binge anything, and you get to episode 6 and you just like, nah, just fall asleep now. Watch this later.
Not a good sign.
It's probably not as like that didn't happen. I binged 5 seasons of Game of Thrones in 3 days.
Yeah, I struggled
I
struggled to fall asleep with
exactly.
Like, yeah.
Where this didn't do that, which makes me believe or reinforces the idea that it's such a slow burn.
Yeah, fair.
But listen, it's still worth a watch, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't write it off. Looks so far so good. I'm enjoying it, but as a show to watch, not as my favorite of all time kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
No, just like I haven't really got far into it just yet, but again, pretty good at least.
So if you're listening to this on YouTube, and it took you just about the entire day, leave a like and subscribe.
Yes.
Again, should have done that at the start of the fucking show, not at the end.
Yeah.
If you want to give us an email, tell us how long our shows are and that they are too long, please email us at nerdybeardmanweekly@gmail.com. That's me, nerdybeardmanweekly@gmail.com. And you can't follow us on Twitter or Facebook just yet. We will set that up when it gets set up. And I guess we're done.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
And see if we hopefully don't have 2 weeks. Maybe do something next week this time. All right.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
it.
Thanks
everybody.